honoring U.S. Marines who died defending Americans at Abbey Gate. Here is Secretary of War Hegseth.
Yet, for half a decade, this building allowed bureaucratic caution, or maybe politics, to stand in the way of proper recognition. Today, on this milestone anniversary, we declare that those days are over. True national readiness and our core strategic mission to achieve peace through strength do not begin simply with weapon systems or budgets. It starts with the sacred trust between the War Department and the warriors we send into harm's way. Peace through strength means our adversaries, yes, they fear our resolve, but they cannot fear our resolve if our own warfighters, if our own Marines do not trust that the department will stand by them in the hour of their greatest need. And today, at least in part, we restore that trust. Gunnery Sergeant Jonathan Eby, Corporal Michael Gretzen, and Lance Corporal Jordan Houston. Gentlemen, Marines, welcome. Today we're here to look you in the eye and to deliver the recognition you earned 5 years ago. Because of what you did at Abbey Gate was not just a display of exceptional tactical skill and bravery. It was the very definition of the warrior spirit that we're reviving here and that preserves our nation and underpins our national defense. The mission these Marines were given was almost unfathomably unpredictable, difficult, and fraught with an unknown amount of risk, yet known at the same time, which is sort of the worst duality. And they stood in the direct blast zone with minimal cover, fully aware of an imminent suicide threat. Yet they stayed on that line because they knew that their brothers in arms and thousands of innocents depended on them. For too long, leadership in this capital city failed to match that frontline courage with administrative backbone, inappropriately downgrading the original award submissions that these men rightfully deserved. You see, a military that downplays its frontline heroes to avoid uncomfortable political truths only projects weakness. The world watches how we treat our heroes. When they see a United States that fiercely defends, champions, and unties the hands of its warfighters, a country that corrects injustices and honors valor at the point of friction, they see an ironclad resolve of an unbreakable republic. By upgrading these awards, we are stating clearly that America's warriors will be fiercely supported, and our military's lethal edge will not be compromised by desk-bound bureaucracy or lawyers in the cheap seats. There's no finer example of that raw, unyielding courage than what occurred when these three men and others they saved were pushed to the absolute limit. When the threat materialized, these three Marines did not flinch. They held the line when everything else was fractured, when 13 souls were lost. Rather than seeking cover, they stepped forward to secure the perimeter. They kept their fellow Marines focused and pulled the wounded to safety. Under direct fire, they risked their lives to protect their brothers and complete the evacuation. Their fearless response represents the pinnacle of combat heroism, simply put, valor. They did not wait for orders to act. They relied on their training, their instinct, and their devotion to one another. A nation that relies on such extraordinary heroism must have leadership bold enough to simply honor it. When President Trump took office, we made a solemn promise. We will always stand by you without hesitation, without apology, and without compromise. We will have your back. In part, to fulfill that promise, we established the Afghanistan Withdrawal Special Review Panel to ensure that this 5-year milestone would not pass without correcting the record. And I want to personally recognize Undersecretary Anthony Tata, his office and his team, Sean Parnell for his leadership, and Stu Scheller. Where's Stu? There he is right there. Stu Scheller for their relentless effort to push these upgrades through. Stu, a Marine who had his own front row seat, a different kind of seat to this, spoke truth. Your personal dedication to shepherding this process is a testament to what it means to look out for our own. So thank you. Because of your work, we are proudly authorizing upgrades and the V for Valor device for these Marines today. American valor, not downplaying it, showcasing it. So as we place these medals on your chest today, we must also recognize those who bore the weight of this 5-year struggle far from the battlefield. So to the families, colleagues, fellow Marines, friends of Gunnery Sergeant E.B. Corporal Gretson and Lance Corporal Houston, thank you. And to all the families of the 13, everyone else affected by this, I know this is a restoration of what was done that day, of what was the bravery that was shown that day, the heroism in impossible circumstances. It's all part of a restoration, as is, frankly, the Afghan review writ large, which is ongoing. And by the end of this calendar year, we'll have a full report to provide. You have carried the weight of quiet sacrifice. And today we hope you feel the full, proud embrace of this department, of the Corps, and of a grateful nation. Marines, on this 5th anniversary, your valor is now officially, permanently, and properly recognized. You are the vanguard of a lethal, proud, and undefeated force that secures and defends our nation. You represent the very heart of peace through strength. So thank you, God bless you, and God bless our great republic, and Semper Fi. Thank you. Now we'll do bring you awards.
This is a featured presentation from the Fanfare Newsroom.
I will say this, Donald Trump just put another, check in his column, because I don't think it could have happened without him.
Yeah, Donald Trump, I think, was more than the difference in this. Look, you got two good candidates. The trick here is that the people who like Ralph Norman, who went to the polls and checked his name, the 165,000, which is a lot, they need to come on board and make sure we get them out to vote in November, because we got to make sure that that stays in Republican hands. But a lot of credit to President Donald Trump. A lot of credit, obviously, to the senator, because she demonstrated that she knows the heart and the mind and the soul of the people of South Carolina. And I think she'll be an exceptional senator. And certainly the president needs all the good friends he can get in the United States Senate, and she will be a stalwart that way.
Yeah, amazing. And I think, Bishop supporting Nikki Haley, alienated him from the president. It only raised the question in my mind, is he going to be a rogue Republican? When you have slim majorities, you need everybody on the same page. And again, I think Republicans need to get stronger. They have a strong president. They need to stiffen their spine and fight harder.
This is John Fredericks of the John Fredericks Media Network, reporting live from Rock Hill, South Carolina for Fanfare. Thanks for tuning us in today. Well, here's what happened last night. Let me break it down to you really, really quick, because there is a buried lead. Obviously, Darlene Graham with a very significant victory, winning over Ralph Norman. She carried the entire state except for the Greenville area. She won by 20,000 votes. Now, let me tell you the good news here and the buried lead. Here's what happened. President Trump came to Myrtle Beach, and in that area where he came for that rally for Darlene Graham, the Graham rolled up significant plurality. She carried Myrtle Beach, she carried Horry County by almost 20,000 votes. Nobody saw that coming. Here was the other buried lead. The turnout in the South Carolina runoff which was the fourth primary in about 2 months. So voters had tremendous fatigue. They expected to turn out to be about 300,000. That was the Norman modeling. It was 400,000. Now, where these other 100,000 people come from that nobody saw coming? They came from President Trump. They came from the rally. They came from his teletown hall. They came from the Get Out the Vote effort by MAGA Inc., which put a significant amount of resources here on behalf of Darlene Graham. Whether you wanted Norman like me or not, the really significant news here in the buried lead is that President Trump still has enormous juice within Republicans. But let me tell you the good news and the silver lining is what Trump did in South Carolina for Darlene Graham is he got out low propensity Trump voters, the same ones that we need in Michigan and Alaska and North Carolina and Maine and all these states that are hanging on the edge, Pennsylvania with these Senate seats, right? Iowa, he got out the lowest propensity voters. We had an enormous uptick in South Carolina of what we call R1 voters, which is voters that only vote when Trump's on the ballot. They came out in bigger numbers than anybody thought, and they came out as a direct result of the president doing his rally in Myrtle Beach, doing his teletown hall, doing Get Out the Vote, and doing robocalls. They reached the low propensity voters, they got them out. This same momentum has to carry into the midterms. If President Trump can do that, he can show that we can get the base out, we can get the low propensity Trump voters out. If he can do it in South Carolina with voter fatigue, he can do it in every swing state in the country, which gives the Republicans a fighting chance to win the midterms.
In the Senate, he has done very well. This is a reality check for you. That is, Donald Trump is still the sun on which the planets of the GOP revolve around. You could see it quite well here. Look at this. Trump endorsees won Senate primaries. If the person that he endorsed is not an elected incumbent, like Darlene Graham was, you know, since 2022 or 2022 was about 95% of the time, has that weakened at all this cycle? No, it has not. It has actually gotten stronger. Look at this. 100% of the time, if Trump endorsed a non-elected incumbent like Darlene Graham, they in fact won the Republican primary for United States Senate. Trump's name is still the one that GOP voters buy when it comes to Senate endorsements.
He went there, he spent money, he made a difference. And according to some measurements here, may have turned it around for her.
Yeah, I would say that this is probably the endorsement of Darlene Graham and getting her across the finish line in the Republican Party is probably the strongest sign of Donald Trump's name being gold in Republican primaries to date. It's by far his most impressive performance because just take a look here. It's according to the Kalshi prediction market. Chance to win the South Carolina special GOP Senate primary. Before the Trump endorsement, it was just 14%. Just 14%. The reason why Darlene Graham won that primary, won that nomination, is because of one name and one name only, Donald John Trump. This was his most impressive endorsement to date in terms of getting someone actually nominated, because she basically stood no chance. Once that endorsement came in, her chances rocketed well north of 50%, and last night she won that nomination.
And it's largely because Republican primary voters are hugely supportive of the president.
You know, sometimes we have these polls, and, you know, they're favorable polls or approval polls, and they're in the moment. But I just love this one. Okay, the president Republicans most admire. It's Donald Trump. This is a historic comparison. A majority of Republicans say, 53% say, he's the Republican president they most admire. Ronald Reagan, who traditionally has won that much, Donald Trump nearly triples up on this. Reagan at just 18%. And then Abraham Lincoln, who by most historic accounts is the greatest president of all time. But Republicans say that the president that they most admire by, what is this? This is 6-7 times as many, Donald John Trump at 53%, easily crushing Abe Lincoln at 8%. And the Elon poll showed that he was the greatest president as well, Donald
I feel
Trump.
like this slide might end up on a printout on his desk sometime soon if he hasn't seen it already. Harry, in terms of who the president is endorsing, what we have going forward, what races are still out there?
Yeah, okay. You know, how about in North Carolina, right?
No.
New Hampshire, not North Carolina.
It's the North Carolina of New England.
That's right. So North Carolina, New England. Chance to be the New Hampshire Republican Senate nominee. John Sununu, who Trump has endorsed, a 97% chance. Scott Brown, 3%. That matches the polls, according to the Kalshi prediction market. These odds are.
Hello. Are you there? Just checking. if there's any sign of life, I don't want to hit the mic too hard. Clock, clock, clock. Pinch yourself. Because I had heard of our demise. I had heard that MAGA was dead. I have been reading and scrolling on X, and MAGA's dead. You're done. The Democrats are going to take the midterms. MAGA is dead. I guess they didn't count on actual MAGA, because the thing that they didn't count on, and this isn't a Darlene Graham moment. This is a Donald Trump moment. This is a MAGA moment. You guys can all have your individual feelings about Darlene Graham and her brother. That's not what is at the essence of discussion today, and it's probably why it's most quiet around the Democrat circles. They cast us off for death. We were done. And all of a sudden, she was not even expected to really compete with Ralph Norman. Even John Fredericks, who contributes to our show, yesterday, he's like, yeah, I'm in the Ralph Norman camp, and she spanked him out of nowhere. Just came up. Well, it wasn't out of nowhere. It was Trump. It was Trump. For all the things that CNN and MSNBC and all the different networks try to do, how they've tried to kill us off, how they've tried to make it as though we're has-beens. We found out yesterday we're anything but. We are a group of people who are sitting, waiting to be activated. Not by Darlene Graham, not by Ralph Norman, not by any one individual that's running for a Senate or Congress seat. That's not getting us excited. What gets people excited is the man that we all voted for. Some of us voted for him 3 times. And I don't think the Democrats and their strategists had any idea that this was going to be, even though it was a red state, it's South Carolina. Let's understand it was a home game. But nobody was talking about the fact that Darlene Graham was going to come in there and basically spank and get to where she got to. And as John was explaining, the reason why she won is because Trump activated, as he called it, I guess the term, low propensity voters. These are people, if Trump's not on the ballot, yeah, I got to do my hair tonight. I don't really care. Not last night. Last night, the low propensity voters rose up. Last night, people like you and me in South Carolina rose up and said, the boss says this is the person, that's the person. And so yesterday when we were talking about it, and there were people going back and forth in the chat about not wanting her. And if you remember, I closed it. I didn't put any thumb on the scale. I wasn't looking to name that horse. The only thing I could name was the person riding that horse. And he came out with a glowing endorsement. And I thought at that point, that's probably going to be it. Even though the piece I showed before that show, oh, he's lost 6 of these things. Well, he's at 97%. I would love to take those odds going into the midterms. That people he has endorsed have won 97% of the time. And he's got all that money. He's got everything he could do. And yesterday, I was questioning, what are we doing with all this money? I don't watch commercials and everything else. And SV pointed out something to me before the show. He said he was out with some friends. He can talk about it when he comes on. And he said, nobody knows what the hell's going on. The stuff that we discuss, most people just don't see it. They don't know. So that's why the money has to get spent, because the people who are real low propensity voters, the people who are way down and living their lives, basically, not news junkies like some of us are, don't have any idea what's going on. They don't know about the socialists. Doesn't affect them. They don't know that Bernie and all the rest of them want to raise taxes and take as much from you as possible. They don't know. They don't care about the gas prices and the grocery prices that they keep repeating every other television show. They don't care about the 6 people sitting around in the panel talking about how Trump sucks and he's racist and homophobic and xenophobic. They don't care. They've tuned out. Thankfully, you haven't. But see, that puts a heavier burden on you. Because once you hear this stuff, you have to get out there and tell everybody else. And that was like pretty much what SV was coming up with yesterday. It's like, these people don't know. We're less than 70 days out for the midterms, and they don't really understand that they want to put boys and girls sports. They don't understand that they want to have, I'll try to cover it tomorrow. But Nick Shirley dropped a report today, and it says the Democrats want to open up, how can I say this delicately, whack-a-noodle stations in Los Angeles, in California, where the homeless can go and whack-a-noodle, if you get my drift, in peace. They don't know this stuff. They don't know what these people are all about. We're going to discuss that in depth tomorrow. But tonight, or this afternoon, what I want to just stress with people is that the Kingmaker is the Kingmaker. They can say anything they want. They can talk all kinds of crap. But if he puts his finger on you and says, that's who I want, people obviously respond. It's not at 100%. 97 is pretty damn good. And so yesterday, the election was won. And here's what you're gonna see something that we probably didn't know. I saw some people in here who were talking about Darlene Graham was a rhino. You're going to be surprised at the cut I show you that I didn't know. More than likely, you didn't know. Maybe some people in South Carolina knew. But when you see the cut, you're like, oh my gosh, we dodged a bullet. Check this out.
Thank you. What a night. What a night. So, South Carolina Republicans, I humbly accept your nomination to serve as the Republican nominee for the United States Senate from the great state of South Carolina. Thank you, thank you, thank you. First, I want to thank the good Lord who got us through these past few weeks and gave me and my family the strength to keep going. I continue to miss Lindsay every day, and there is still a big hole in my heart. But I know he's looking down right now, very proud of everyone in this room. I want to thank President Trump for all of his support and his endorsement. Mr. President, Lindsay truly loved you and viewed you as one of his closest friends. I appreciate that bond and appreciate all that you've done for our country. Our victory would not have been possible without you, and we are truly grateful.
So she acknowledges it right there and then. You know, I want to thank this person, I want to thank the Lord, and I got to thank Donald Trump. Without him, this ain't happening. So she understood the strength of his endorsement. Obviously, the people on stage with her family and friends, they knew once Trump got involved, she had a real shot to win this.
South Carolina is truly Trump country.
All right, so now let's look at the other camp. Same night, last night, right after the election. And I want you to watch his wife, Ralph Norman's wife. I want you to watch the people behind him. And as you listen to this, and it's only, looks like it's about 50 seconds, you are going to realize we dodged a frickin' bullet. There's no other way to describe how bad it would have been had this guy won.
In fact, I'm not being critical. It's just the PACs that were against, to me, freedom. It's Democrats. They got what they wanted. I get that. But the president got involved. He has that right. That's his prerogative. As I told, y'all.
They're booing President Trump at Ralph Norman's speech. Just let that sink in, South Carolinians. They're booing President Trump. wow, we got lucky.
His policies are good. I never understood why he got in this race to beat, but it is what it is. And as I said earlier, I'm going to support the Republican. I'm not supporting a Democrat. So I will support.
He couldn't even say her name. He couldn't say Darlene Graham. Now watch the woman to his left in the blue. That's his wife. She's pissed. Absolutely pissed.
Her is Darlene as best I can. And and as I told her,
whatever her last name is. His wife just said that. I watched this and I'm like, oh my gosh. How did Trump know? I guess maybe because Nikki Haley was his big supporter. He knew this guy's bad for us. I want you to hear that again because I was like, oh no, are you really mocking Darlene Graham? His wife, I can't understand it.
And as I told her,
Whatever her last name.
and I told.
Yeah, we dodged a bullet. President Trump underscored that this morning. Didn't say nothing really negative about him, but he said this. Ralph Norman had the look of a good congressman, not great, but good, but ruined his career when he endorsed Nikki Haley. There's something behind the scenes that was unspoken. There's something we don't know that President Trump does know. And I'm probably thinking to myself, Lindsey probably told him. Lindsey is, whatever you think of him, was hooked up into South Carolina. He had South Carolina in his veins. And he probably went to President Trump and said, this guy's going to stick you in the back. And then sure enough, right there at the losing concession speech, you can tell this guy's pissed, his family's pissed, and they looked down their nose, they booed President Trump. Can you even imagine another John Thune-like person getting in? And the Kingmaker knew. Many people like, why the hell is he endorsing Darlene Graham? For what would get in his mind to bring this woman out and endorse her when she, I don't know anything about national security. No, oh my goodness. No, that's who I want. That's the person I want in South Carolina. Like, why? Now you know. The moral of the story is people in South Carolina, people in other states, you got to look at who these people are. Look behind the scenes. Talk to some people that may know some of these people. How the hell could Ralph Norman's wife get up there and make a complete ass out of herself? Whatever her name is. Obviously, there's a lot of bad blood between her and the Graham family. And obviously, Lindsey must have told Trump. He must have told him. He knew. Ralph Norman had the look of a good congressman, not great, but good, but ruined his career when he endorsed Nikki Haley. As much as some of you may not like Darlene Graham, this guy, I can only surmise from seeing what President Trump said, would have been much worse. And so you have to temper this and understand, one, you saw President Trump basically let you know that MAGA is not dead. You probably knew that. But now you can just look away from all the craziness going on social media and understand you are not alone. They are trying to isolate you. They are trying to pick us off. They're trying to demoralize us, as President Trump said. But after watching what happened last night, you have to be, hey, we're in good shape, aren't we? We're in damn good shape. We really are in really good shape. We just have to weed out the enemies, foreign, domestic, and Republican. I almost think we should be calling ourselves a different party. I don't know if we should be aligned with Republican because some of the Republicans out there hate us. They don't want anything to do with us. And you just saw how they reacted to Darlene Graham. That's just not, that's sour grapes. That is extremely sour grapes. Should have been, Darlene, congratulations. You fought a great race. We're going to support you all the way. Yeah, whatever her name is. Wow. So I hope you guys all realize right now that we dodged a serious bullet. Thank you, President Trump, for picking the right horse in that race and letting all of us know you're seeing things we obviously don't see. Now, in terms of seeing things we all don't see, not sure if you saw it, but, well, you wouldn't have seen it maybe unless you subscribe. But President Trump went on Glenn Beck's show this morning at like 9 o'clock and did a pretty good interview. And I want you to focus as you hear it. We'll play it in a second on things he didn't say versus a lot of things that he did say. To let you know there's so much going on behind the scenes, just like with obviously Ralph Norman. So we're going to cover that in a second. I wanted to show you guys something and let you know I told you September 1st we're going to be doing a bunch of different things. One of those things is our morning post. Every morning that when you wake up, God willing that I'm here, we're going to be posting a video at about 10, 11 o'clock. That video will not be a clip of the live show. It will be completely fresh content. And so Ashley, she talked me into it, so I'm doing it. And, that's what we're going to be doing. Also, she is posting all of these things, I guess I could call them, post on the community tab of YouTube. So I wanted to show that to you in case you guys haven't seen it. Let me bring it up. And I had posted there a long time ago, but she's doing it again, and she's doing a great job. Now, let me just bring this up so you guys can see it. And they're just post. And it says, she just posted this here and just a picture. But we're also going to do video notifications right up on there as well. So things are changing. You're not going to see clips in the morning. You're going to see new content every single morning, or as close to it as I possibly can commit. And then on the weekends, we may have some reclips if you missed part of the show. So we're going to test it out. Let's see how that works. Hope you guys enjoy it. The one we put up today is doing very, very well. So I appreciate that you guys watch it. All right, SV, what you got, man? You got some stuff here?
Yes, I do. Happy Wednesday. And before you get started, let's, I don't know if people heard, but rest in peace, Tim Curry. He passed away. He was 80 years old, so I guess they're coming in, hopefully not threes, but we'll see.
I told Robin that. She's like, don't say that. I'm like, just say it. And by the way, you're close to the same age I am, and I'm sure there's many people in the chat who are that close age. You couldn't have been around when we went to college and not have seen the Rocky Horror Picture Show. You had to go on, and even if you didn't go to college, right about that time, it was everywhere. And I remember going the first time and I'm like, what are all these people in costumes? And they're, wait a minute, I'm just here with you guys. I got some popcorn and people are throwing food and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm like, oh, y'all crazy. Okay.
That's where the original Transformers came from.
Yeah.
I go there. Whoa!
That was kind of when I said, hey, you know what? This was a decent movie. I'm out. Okay, you guys can come every Friday night and act the crazy. I'm not down with this. But it was hilarious. I never really understood how that thing went for 20, 30 years, where people were singing the songs. Let's do the time warp. Don't hit me with a ding on that one. Okay, that's my voice. But anyway, I remember.
I told you I can't sing either, man.
Yeah, but that was it was a fun movie. It's one of Robin's favorites. All right, so what do you got here? This is your boy Clandestine. Go ahead.
All right, so he says Trump's objective is to show the American people that the Democrats will do anything to prevent secure elections. They are all on the record voting no on the Save America Act, confirming that they do cheat in elections.
Hold on. Does that anything include setting up like little huts where you can play wackadoodle or something in California?
I thought they were doing the addictomies.
No,
which is it?
This
where
is
you going?
Conjugality and wackadoodle.
Yeah. Where's Graham Plattner? Now that this reality has been thoroughly established for the record books and thoroughly ingrained into the minds of the public, the door is open for Trump to secure the midterms himself via executive power. Trump gave Congress every opportunity to get it done, and they failed. It's up to him. The alternative is to sit back and do nothing while our foreign adversaries subvert our elections and conquer this nation from within, which Trump has repeatedly said is not an option.
And he refers to a Trump's True Social post from this morning. Every Democrat voted no to Save America Act. They also voted no to no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, yet still want to scream affordability, but don't want to give people the money to be more affordable. And what was the last one? All voters must show proof of citizenship, meaning they want criminal aliens. So
common sense.
Let you know, today's video that I posted this morning was a recap. After we got off the show, Judge Talwani decided she was going to try and flex some muscle and say that everything about the Supreme Court order didn't matter, and she was going to make President Trump still do all the things she wanted to do. And then for some, I don't know how this happens, but she decided today, SB, to maybe that might not be a good idea. Maybe I might need to lift that order. It says federal judge lifts final block on Trump mail-in voting order, clearing the way for midterm restrictions. A federal judge lifted her name's Talwani, lifted the final injunction blocking President Trump mail-in voters voting order, allowing the administration to impose new requirements ahead of the November midterms. The Postal Service rule, which I couldn't find, states to require states to provide mail voter lists and use reviewed, uniquely barcoded ballot envelopes. See, that was the part that we didn't know. I guess that's going to be in the new rule. They're going to have barcoded envelopes so they can trace everything. Ooh,
they don't like that. They don't like that one.
They're breaking out in sweats all over the place there. The voting rights group amended their complaint to challenge the finalized rule directly, making the third legal challenge targeting it. Neither Wednesday's ruling nor the Supreme Court's decision upheld the legality, and the challengers can seek new injunctions blocking the finalized rule. So it's just going to go back and forth, and eventually it's just, I don't know how long it's going to take. They may not even have time. If they don't get an injunction, or if the injunction gets overturned, Democrats are screwed.
Yeah. Looks like she played the leftist Uno reverse card today. Insurrection Act, please.
I'm looking to see if there's a link to it, but nobody seems to be showing the link. But in my video this morning, I talked about how immediately, I mean, I thought it would be today. Last night, they started filing lawsuits ahead of the rule actually hitting. So, of course, it's the same character, Norm Eisen, and what's the other one's name? Mark Elias, scumbags, complete scumbag. But as of right now, there is no injunction. So they're going to have to move very, very quickly. All right. So what do you got in this one? Oh, that's a pretty dog.
Yeah, we all love animals. So let's take a moment to thank all our military working dogs that serve alongside U.S. forces throughout the Middle East, performing a variety of critical missions. These four-legged fighters are trusted teammates in helping protect American service members from threats. I think that's awesome. Just hope we haven't lost any, but yeah, like get them, sick them.
Yeah, I'm looking at the first comment, and what's it say here? Animal abuse. I'd sooner the Bernie Sanders to a leash and send him off to the war before.
Oh God!
He would have. Hey, Robin sent me a picture yesterday, and it was so sad. It was one of those. I don't know if it was a Malinois or a German Shepherd, but he was all mangled. His eye was kind of shut. He's recovered now, but he jumped on a bomb and he saved 4 soldiers. The dog did. Yeah, he's mangled, but he's alive. I mean, the dog. I mean, it's amazing.
Wonderful animals.
When I had my sheriff buddy was down here. A couple of weekends ago, I told you guys we went out to dinner. I asked him, I said, the number one job Robin would want would be to be in a boat going up and driving a boat along the shore. And I said, if I was a cop, my number one job would be I would want to work with a canine unit. And he goes, man, that is such a tough job. He goes, you're with that dog 24/7, basically. You take it home, it becomes like a member of the family. And so I feel for these guys and ladies who have the canine units, because if they lose it, it's like losing a member of the family. Like all of our pets.
Yeah, Midas would be great at that job. By the way, I was just reminded. Folks are asking about the Midas webcam. Are we ever going to see that or have that? I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, see, the thing is, when I got this studio, he's not here, so I'd have to like bring him with me. But if I do a nighttime stuff at home, then I could probably put something on him. Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah, I'd like to do. He'd like it too. He's a ham. All right, so this one here, what do you got here? What's this? Okay. So this is coming up, but you can tell everybody about it. I've got that coming up though.
Okay, so we won't click on the link. So basically, big story today. FBI shuts down a sprawling China link hacking network. They were very sly about it too. I'll give a little context. So the spy operation targeted NASA, the Federal Reserve, and other areas, hiding within normal internet traffic to avoid detection. So they were like right out there instead of hiding and lurking. That's how they got caught. But yeah, you'll tell more about that.
Yeah, you'll see. I've got who was it? What's his name? Todd Blanche was on today discussing that. And then you got one more for now.
Good old Ron DeSantis, man. He's going out strong, man. I love it. He just went off on those flock cameras. Okay. So, a lot of people don't like him, and I understand why. They could have some good uses, but he says he announced Florida needs to pass legislation reining it in. He goes, what the heck is going on with this? I don't want to have this to become a surveillance state. I see a police officer using this to track his ex-girlfriend. I'm all about having law enforcement have tools to be able to hold criminals accountable. I think that's important that we do that, and no one's been stronger on law enforcement than me. I think this has happened very quickly, and I think people are right to be concerned. I wanted an AI Bill of Rights that could have addressed this and other issues. It needs to be overhauled for sure. These cameras, the license plate readers, I think it's out of control. So at least somebody's starting to address it.
I guess right. This is a bone of contention in our house. Yeah. Not really a bone of contention. Robin hates the idea. Hates the idea of flock cameras, and I don't have any. I don't care. I'm indifferent. I'm Switzerland here, and so I'm trying to see both sides. And they're like, Barry, we can't have flock cameras. It's an invasion of privacy. And I tried to tell her, there is no privacy. I have been in, for quite some time, the anti-privacy world business for about 12 years. And what I mean by that is, you just saw I don't know if you guys saw that Facebook decided to settle for like 10 or 15 billion dollars because of hooking kids and everything. And I've told you guys many times, about being able to go ahead and run ads how I want to and all the information. And then this thing. Tell me you don't want flock. The day you tell me I'm not carrying a cell phone, the day you say I don't want this, then I'll listen to people talk about flock cameras. Because I can track, if I was one of the government agencies, if this is in your car, I got you. And so that's the disconnect I have, SV. Like I said, I'm not for them and I'm not against them. I'm just like, what? That's our life right now. You know that wire that plugs from the back of your cable box into the television? They can see everything you're watching, which I never understood why Nielsen ratings were they way. They know what you're putting on. They know if you're ordering that, that stuff. If you're watching that stuff, and SV, you've been in IT for a while. Tell people about browser histories.
There's ways to hide certain things. You could do VPN and hide yourself, but the history show everything you click on, everywhere you've gone. And a lot of people don't know how to erase that. So it's all on your computer. So if your computer ever gets taken by someone who wants to find out something more about you, they have it all of it.
They have it all. And so I have been personally talking to people about the flock cameras, and I just say it. Tell me how it's different than this.
Yeah.
You know, and nobody can give me the answer because your GPS, everything's on here. They if you're tapping into wireless anywhere, they're gonna know where you are. And you know, different cars, the cars talk to the dealerships and everything else. The car knows where you are.
It's crazy. And then for the people that come in the chat and they say, you know, I'm getting all this spam porn.
You tell them.
Somebody in that house is looking at that stuff. So,
yeah. Hey, listen, I'd like to order up a pizza, and my phone's listening to me, so I can get ads from Pizza Hut and Domino's and everything else.
There you go.
If I order up, you know, something else, I might get those ads as well. Which is why that was pretty funny when they all talked about getting pizza. You know, I won't go there right now, but pizza. Yeah. How much? I want some pizza with sauce. Yeah. Nobody's ever explained that yet. You notice that?
Yeah.
Nobody has explained it. Nobody will talk about it. They talk about the other guy, but nobody explains any of that stuff. I don't know. I'll just leave it out there. So anyway,
All right. Speaking of commercials, I think you have one to do now.
Do I?
I believe you do. It's about time.
And as soon as we get back from that, we'll bring on the Glenn Beck video. Let me know in the chat if you saw it. If you didn't see it, you might be very surprised. Thanks, SB.
Right.
Talk to you in a second. All right, so we're going to talk to you about my friends from Tax Network. Do you owe back taxes or have unfiled tax returns? Or have you filed every year, but you still keep owing because you didn't pay? Did you retire and suddenly get hit with a tax bill you didn't expect? Are you a business owner with messy books and a balance you can't afford? Maybe you pulled money from your 401k or IRA early, and now the IRS wants its fair share. However your tax issue started, the outcome is pretty much going to be the same. Your balance doesn't go down, it continues to accrue. And that sucks. Penalties grow, interest compounds, and many of you who are in this situation are about to owe again in a couple months for this tax year with no plan in place on how to fix it. Stop what you're doing and call Tax Network USA if you're in that kind of a predicament. The IRS is not going to wait. The IRS is enforcing collections through wage garnishments, bank levies, and property seizures. They can even file for you without your consent. This is where Tax Network USA comes in. With over 15 years in business, there hasn't been a tax case they haven't seen or been unable to resolve. They specialize in tax controversies and help taxpayers nationwide get back on track by resolving back taxes and unfiled returns once and for all. Whether you owe $10,000 or, God forbid, $10 million, their team has resolved over $1 billion in tax debt. They can do the same for you, but you have to call them. They're offering a free investigative call with the IRS for you, and after that investigation, they put a clear case plan in place to resolve your tax burden and get you back on track. This is about using your legal rights to take control before the government sets the terms for you. Don't wait for another IRS letter or a frozen bank account. Call today, 866-686-1377. or visit tnusa.com/Barry or click the link in the description of the video below. Be back with the interview in 90 seconds.
back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
This is a featured presentation from the Fanfare Newsroom.
Mr. President, welcome. Last night we found out that
it does sound a little exhausting as you're going over that list. I'm getting exhausted. I said, that's
I know.
A lot of work.
I don't know how you do it. I know. Last night we found out that Dolly Parton passed away, and you did something. And I actually wrote this in my diary last night before I heard what you did. I said, I feel like she's kind of, like I feel about her the way I felt about Queen Elizabeth. She was just such class. And I felt like we should lower our flags. And for the first time in history, you said we should lower our flags, and you declared that our flag should be at half staff. That's never been done before. Why'd you do it for her?
Is that was never done for an entertainer before? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, because never.
We've done this, lowering, but as I understand it, I've heard that from a couple of people. I'm a little surprised, but she was unique. I mean, she was amazing, and to lose her, it's like you lose a member of the family. We all knew her so well. I knew her a little bit. She wasn't a very political person. She really liked me, I will tell you, but she also wanted to stay very, She was of the opinion, the 50%. Who needs to lose? I don't think it's 50. I think it's probably 20% of the fans, okay, not 50. But she was a great person, and she was just a nice person. I liked her a lot. And I thought it was a natural thing to lower the flags.
That was very interesting. I'm just going to react to this video when I hear stuff like this. President Trump, just out of the goodness of his heart, lowered the flags for Dolly Parton. He didn't even know it had never been done before for a entertainer or a person of that kind of figure. It's been done for leaders and politicians and things of that nature, but no one has ever done it for an entertainer. You can debate whether you think Dolly Parton was worthy of it, but obviously it meant a lot to him.
Can we put something to rest here? Because the speculation is crazy. The CIA director, ours, is in Russia. Rumors are saying Putin is going to test NATO resolve, all the way to speculation that is crazy. He's going to strike England, all the way to this is maybe the U.S. telling them about the Iranian sanctions, saying we're serious about them. Can you tell me why our CIA director flew in the middle of the night to meet with the Russians?
Well, none of the above. He's there on, very sort of semi-routine. I hate to disappoint people. We would like to see the war with Ukraine end. That's a war would have never started, Glenn, if I were president. That's one of the negatives of not having it done that way. I think this way has actually turned out to be bigger in many ways. But you wouldn't have had the war with Ukraine, and you wouldn't have had 25 million people coming into our country like they did, just come in like we were a bunch of fools. It was so sad. But they, 20, and I think the number's higher than 25, frankly. But they came in from prisons, and they were drug dealers, and they were murderers, and everything else, and they poured into our country. You wouldn't have had that. But you would not have had the war in Ukraine. John Ratcliffe is a fantastic guy. He's the head of the CIA, and he is not in there for any of the things that you said. Now, something may come out, out of it. We're working very hard to get that war ended. And frankly, they both want to see it ended at this point.
The Atlantic, of all places, is reporting, and this is starting to become commonplace, that the Ayatollah is dead. Is the Ayatollah dead? And is there a way to win this war? I mean, really win this war and have them unconditionally surrender without the people rising up who don't have any guns? So is he dead? And where are we on the war?
I don't think he's dead. He was very seriously wounded. The left side of his body, the arm, the leg, the whole thing. He was very seriously wounded, but I don't think he's dead. And if he is, they're putting on a pretty good show because they talk about, going back to talk to him all the time, to get a final blessing on things. But, you make a deal with them, it's like it's not the most honorable group, I will tell you that. And, we have the Strait open. We took out 22 boats last night. We have people coming in. The blockade, our Navy has been unbelievable. Our military has been unbelievable, the combination. And our financial strength, we built it up so much like you wouldn't believe in a year and a half. Our financial strength is unbelievable. And those things are going toward a very big victory. We had the victory in Venezuela, and we're going to have a big victory here very soon.
I just wanted to jump in because I was looking in the chat to see if any of you guys were talking about it. Did you see how quickly he moved off of the John Ratcliffe story? Glenn is savvy enough to know he doesn't want, when I say he, Trump, he doesn't want to talk about it. Hey, why is Ratcliffe over in Russia? And why did he go over in the cover of night? What's going on? Oh, it's pretty routine. That's the answer? It's routine for the CIA director, the head spook, to fly over to Russia unannounced? That's routine? Well, it's not really routine because it hasn't been done in decades, I believe. At least many, many years that the CIA director, the head spook, decided to go over to Russia. So it's anything but routine. And I think Glenn, with his experience, understood when he got that answer, shut up. The president just told you it's pretty much routine. I don't think so. I think he's giving me a signal to shut the F up. I'm pretty sure that's what that signal was.
Can we, because these people are not, it's not like you're negotiating with Western-minded people. These people want chaos and death and everything else. Has there been any talk anywhere of anybody, I'm not saying us, supplying the people with the ability to fire back? Because you've got to get the 80% of the people to stand up. Do you foresee them being able to stand up in the future?
So here, Glenn's asking very good questions, but these are questions he couldn't possibly answer. You think we're going to arm the people of Iran, Mr. President? How would you ever expect the president of the United States, who's involved in a conflict right now with that country, hey, we're going to give the people of the country guns? And he probably looked around the room. I can't tell him this. I can't even begin to answer that question. Great question. I will pat you on the head and say, absolutely a great question. Better than any question CNN, MSNBC, best question ever. Sorry, I got to dodge it.
Finish this regime.
Right. They say they're so surprised that the people aren't fighting back. But Glenn, if you were in that position, and you're a brave guy, I've watched your whole career. I've been a fan of yours for a long time. You're a brave guy, but I don't think you'd be standing out there when they have a machine gun nest. But, they have really snipers at the tops of buildings, and people go out to protest, and they get hit, and they don't have to hit many. But when you see 5 or 6 or 10 people go down, and you have 100,000 or 200,000 people, they leave. No, I don't care who you are. They leave.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to protest when you have people that are willing to shoot you and kill you. And that's why they're not protesting. And there is a chance because they have become very much weakened. Their Navy is, as you know, totally gone. Their Air Force is totally gone. Their soldiers, many of their soldiers aren't being paid. They have 300, I heard 90%. I think it's 300% inflation. Their money is almost valueless now. They're not doing very well. And, I would have to, and I could have told you the same thing, not as strongly, but 2 months ago, 3 months ago, and I'd have to read the New York Times saying how well they're doing. They're not actually saying that anymore, which is hard to believe. I'm surprised they don't continue to say it. But, there was so much fake news put out. Because right from the beginning, from the B-2 bombers a little more than a year ago where we knocked out the nuclear to the present, we have really dominated, really, truly dominated.
Mr. President, I understand you're the leader of the free world, but you didn't answer my question. Are we going to be giving the Iranians any weapons? Great question. No, I can't tell you that. Let me talk to you about some other stuff. By the way, the last CIA director to go to Russia was William Burns in 2021.
We have so many enemies, I feel, like inside our own gates. We have the DSA, and we have Islam, the Red-Green Alliance, something I put up on the chalkboard when I was at Fox, and I said, this is going to happen, and everybody said that. They'll never work together, and that's exactly what's happening. Would you push for or sign a no Sharia law act for America? And when it comes to the Marxists, what advice do you have for the GOP to begin to relate to the people who feel like there is an affordability crisis in America, especially for the youth, and the Marxists are playing on that and exploiting all of that?
Yeah.
What advice do you have?
Yeah, I would say two things. Number one, on Sharia law, I would absolutely say that's not this country. There was no Sharia law, and you do have pockets of it, as you know. I would say no. And you go to London, you go to Paris, it's almost like a second way of life. It's ridiculous. Yeah. And I would absolutely be on your side on that, or on a lot of other people's side too, because you know you and I have people that I think we're more based on common sense than we are on ideology. It's all about good politics is all about common sense anyway. But I would absolutely prohibit the Sharia law thing, and it is happening in this country a little bit. And when we see it, we take it out, and you have to take it out. You have one system. We have a great system. Sometimes it's very frustrating, but it's the best there is that I can see. As far as the affordability, so affordability is interesting because the Democrats caused affordability. I took over. Everything was high. We had the highest inflation in history. They say 48 years, so either one. But we had the highest inflation in the history of our country. Prices were at the highest. You look at the oil and gas. You look at groceries. You look at eggs. Remember, I took it over. Eggs were 5 times higher than they were 4 years before. And we've gotten them down very, very substantially. And prior to the war, prior to what we're doing with Iran, which I think will be ending fairly soon, you could really say, you know, because the Strait is open. We take a lot of ships through the Strait now. We're taking them in. The mines are gone. You probably saw that. We put it out yesterday, all the mines. We got rid of the mines. But the Strait, it's functioning. It's a functioning Strait. Yes, every once in a while there'll be a drone or a rocket or something shot, but it is a very functioning Strait. A lot of oil is pouring out. 10 million gallons, 10 million barrels yesterday. But as far as affordability, when I was just prior to saying we have to go down, we have to do this, I met with my people. We just had record stock market. And I said, you know, we're going to have to do a detour. We cannot let, it's very simple to me. We cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. That's what it's all about. That's 99.9%. We cannot let them, because they are crazy and they will use it. And we cannot let them have a nuclear weapon. And we stopped it. I stopped it twice. I stopped it then, and I stopped it with the JCPOA. That's the Obama deal that he gave everything. One of the worst deals, one of the most dangerous deals ever said. He gave them a road, a path to a nuclear weapon. That was a path. That wasn't a stoppage. That was a path to a nuclear weapon. And I terminated that, as you know. It was a big deal when I did it. And they tried to say like it was a disaster. They would have had a nuclear weapon 5 years ago if I didn't. I terminated it in my first term. And so I saved it then. They would have had a nuclear weapon. They would have used it. Israel would have been totally knocked out. They would have knocked out. There would be, I will say this, if Donald Trump wasn't president, there would be no Israel right now. There would be, and that's a guarantee. There would not be an Israel, because they would have had nuclear weapons and they would have used them immediately. But as far as pricing, the prices are coming down. You know, they came up with that word affordability. So I inherit the worst inflation in history, and I have my first news conference the day after I win, and the press is screaming at me about prices. And they especially going, what about eggs? What about this? What about? I said, I'm only here for one day. Give me a chance. I didn't even know. They're talking about eggs. They're screaming at me about eggs. I said, I just won yesterday. I mean, the whole thing was just absolutely crazy. Actually, it was the first day it was on January 21st. I'm having a news conference. I'm there for one day, and they're screaming at me about prices. I inherited a mess in so many ways. The border, which I solved very quickly. I inherited so many different problems. And this was a bad administration. This was an incompetent administration. But I inherited high prices. And then from the first day, they started using the word affordability. They looked at me, affordability. It was a new word. Nobody ever heard the word. It was a new word that they devised because they're quite good at that. They're not good at running a country, but they're good at, I guess, good at politics. I don't know. They have some awfully bad policy for people like men and women, sports, etc. But I inherited affordability.
Do you see Glenn Beck right there? I didn't mean to interrupt President Trump, but Glenn Beck just went like that because he asked him a question 5 minutes ago. If you look and see what the time frame between the last time I said something and now, I wanted you to see that. When you talk to President Trump, you don't interview him. He tells you what he wants to get out there. It's his party. It's his messaging. You're just a vessel. We're going to use your airwaves. We're going to use your network. We're going to tell people what we want them to hear. I really don't give a crap about your questions. I'm going to tell them what I need them to know. And Glenn's sitting here going, I can't give a signal. We're on a telephone. I can't go, hey, look at me. It's Dave. And President Trump is just weaving.
Inherited high prices. I'll put it a different way. And we've really gotten them down. Now we have a little bit of an oil. Don't forget, when I did this, people thought the oil would go to $10 a gallon. You know that. And but we had to do it. We had to stop them from having a nuclear weapon, and we did. And the prices are coming down very rapidly. And now beef is starting to come down. The meats, the beef is starting to come down. But prices have come down very substantially.
I have to tell you, Mr. President, I didn't plan on talking about this, and we can get into it at a later date, but please, when it comes to beef, please look at the cartel that is the meat processing cartel. I mean, that is, I run a ranch, so I know what it's like. And I'm telling you, it is the processing plants. There's 4 of them, and I think 2 of them are not even American. It's bad. And I believe they're colluding with each other.
And the farmers haven't done it because they're smart as hell. I'm surprised because that's been going on a long time, Glenn, long before I got here.
Help us. It's so we can't butcher with all of the federal regulations. It is really hard. You know, if there's something you can do to help.
Glenn, is that just a question of regulation? Do you think?
A lot of it is. Yeah, a lot of it is. The inspections are insane.
So they make the regulations so tough that. So could you do it if you didn't have those regulations? Could you do it on your ranch?
Yes.
What you guys are hearing right now, you've probably never heard another president do ever before. Glenn Beck asked him a question. It was not planned, and you're hearing fact-finding and resolution happening live on his show. So you're telling me you're mired down in regulations. You can't slaughter your animals. You can't get the beef to market because of regulations. Huh. Okay. I bet you we see something within the next week or so in terms of eliminating regulations. He's solving the problem while talking to Glenn.
Is that the way to do it? Or do you think you need some pretty strong regulations?
Break the back of those processing plants. There's people that want to build processing plants everywhere. The regulations are killing us, just killing us.
So you're saying with less regulation, you think that the ranchers and farmers would do a very good job of processing the beef?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes,
I know. Look at that today.
I know.
I've been hearing about this problem for 20 years. I've been hearing about this problem.
Free your people. Let our people go. Let your people go.
You know what? This could be a very good call for ranchers and farmers. No, for the country.
That would be good.
No, I've been hearing
That'd be good.
only bad about it's 4 places and it's a monopoly.
It is.
And who's controlling
This would break their back.
Who's controlling those regulations? Department of Agriculture?
Yes.
He's not talking to Glenn right now. It looks like, or might sound like, he's talking to Glenn. He doesn't expect an answer from Glenn. Who controls all this that you're talking about? He's not looking at his telephone. He's in the Oval Office. He's having this conversation. There are other people standing in the Oval Office. He just happens to be speaking into the microphone as he's looking at somebody going, who controls this stuff? Get an answer. Glenn just happens to be on the other end of the microphone. He's not asking Glenn. I'm not asking you to tell me. I'm asking one of these people sitting around here. Find out who's in charge of this stuff. Call in Brooke Rollins. We need to figure out how to get this done. Glenn just happens to be the guy with the headphones on.
An FDA.
And the FDA.
Or US, or is it USDA? I can't remember which one, but it's
USDA.
It's the federal regulation. It's all the inspections. It's all the inspections. Mr. President, I got to get to one more question. Canada.
No, this is a very big thing you just told me, though, because you just gave me a very good idea.
You got to imagine the President of the United States, all the things he has to work on. I got a war over here. I got gas prices. I got the economy. I got this. And now you're telling me I got to deal with this beef stuff? And none of y'all told me? You didn't tell me there's like all this different regulation. We could get beef down if we had more people who could chop it up. Sorry if you're a vegan. You might want to disconnect because we're talking about slaughtering. But in real time, I've never seen, I mean, obviously I don't see him, but I can just imagine he's talking right now. There's a room full of people, maybe Caroline, maybe Stephen Miller. There's people around him in the room. He doesn't go into a closet and talk. And so I got an idea. An idea literally just popped in his head. I got an idea how we can fix this.
Yeah, good, very good.
Okay.
I love the call. I love this call.
Can you tell me quickly about Canada? I mean, it seems to me they had a really good deal, but this is all about the elections and throwing our elections. What is happening? Is there a way to end this?
Look, I don't know how you feel about Canada. They are one of the worst countries in the world to deal with. And this has gone on for many years.
Wait. Can we say this? I love Canadians and Canada.
Correct.
I do not like their administration.
Okay, well,
right?
the administration and the previous administration too was terrible.
Yes.
But they have taken advantage of the United States for many decades, actually. They charge tariffs that are unbelievable, like on milk, 400%. And I just said, we're taking them on. And I took them on at the beginning, but we had so many other things to do because the country was a mess. But I said, we're going to take them on. We're going to stop it. And you saw the Lake Ontario. You know, people thought I was kidding, but maybe I wasn't, because the last one you saw was the Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf of America.
I know.
So now we have a Gulf and we have a lake, okay? You know, it's very simple. But look, I don't want to go into great detail because it's maybe boring to people, but to me it's not boring. They charge tariffs. They take advantage of us as though they were a state, and they're not a state. And they've taken our car industry, and they've taken our agriculture industry.
Yeah.
You know, the farmers can't sell anything in there because the tariffs are so enormous, and yet they want to sell in us without any tariffs. So I had a deal. That was a pretty good deal, you know, quite good, and because they're afraid that I won't do any business. In other words, we won't trade. They don't have anything that we have to have, okay? We can get by. I mean, there are a couple of things that would make it a little inconvenient, but we can get them elsewhere. And it's time to teach Canada you can't do this anymore. We lose $60 billion, and really more than that, $60 billion a year with Canada.
Mr. President,
we can't do that.
I can't believe I have to say this to you. I have a network break. You could hold on, but I know you're busy. I so appreciate your time, sir. I am sorry that we're on a
You
network
are
break.
terrific, and thank you for the painting. That was so beautiful, the picture.
You're welcome.
That was so...
Thank you, sir.
You are fantastic.
Damn
Thank you very
ads.
much.
Thank
And
you.
I'll talk to you soon.
You bet.
Thanks, Glenn.
You bet. Bye-bye.
That was the most expensive commercial he ever had to run. I got to cut off the president because I got a hard break. You should have just kept rolling. But then again, it would have probably cost quite a bit to run through that commercial. But in any event, you heard the president of the United States basically try to work out something in his mind as he was talking. We're going to go into some of this stuff about Canada real quick because it's a mess. These people have no idea what they're getting into. Let me check in with SB first. What do you got? I love we've never heard somebody who would allow us to listen in as his mind is like calculating. You could actually feel it. He was doing something. But it's pretty interesting to me. So what do you got here?
Yes. I have one story just came up. So unless you had your head in the sand or head up your where, a study just came out. Check this out. Just in bombshell, HHS study has just revealed that Americans who support transformer ideology are more likely to support political violence.
You don't say. Because they're wackadoodles.
Yes. That includes, obviously, the unaliving of Charlie Kirk. We knew this all along. They're saying across pre-registered analyses, CGAS and related gender ideologic belief measures were strongly associated with left-wing authoritarianism, LWA. LWA and CGAS were also positively associated with justification of political violence across 6 targets. Unaliving Charlie Kirk, trying to unalive Donald Trump and Brian Thompson, arson of ICE buildings, damaging wealthy people's property, and violence against the police. Both independently predicted all 6 violence outcomes after controlling for left-wing political identity. These findings suggest that gender ideology is associated with LWA and willingness to justify political violence. Experimental research is needed to determine causality. I mean, to me, that's just cause and effect, right? We kind of knew this, but somebody did a study.
If you think that you could, lop something off and all of a sudden you become one of these, take a dick away or whatever, however you want to talk about it. If you think
that's a new one.
If you think that's normal, you're crazy. I mean, so basically what we're being told at this point, and it's something I was going to talk about tomorrow, is what exactly is the Democrat Party? I feel like the entirety of the Democrat Party at this point is nothing more than a psychological operation, because there's too many things that don't make any sense whatsoever. And I don't want to spend too much time going at it now, but I would love to sit across from a Democrat and simply ask the question, what are you going to do for America that we don't have the ability to do right now? Like, at least with President Trump's, like, I want to close the borders. I want to make sure elections are secure. These are things concrete to help America. What do you want to do?
Let me role model with you. Let me be a leftist. What about Trump?
Answer the question.
That's all they have.
Yeah, what do you want to do?
They don't ever fix anything. They don't ever try to fix anything. And it's always projection. I mean, here they are talking about billionaires, right? Does any of them ever go after Soros? Isn't he a billionaire?
No, they never talk about Taylor Swift. It's so incongruous that we think to ourselves, nothing makes sense, because there's always like, well, if you don't like this, then how do you possibly okay with that? Nothing makes any sense. And so now you're telling me one of your top level platforms is transformerism? That's like one of the top? I mean, right now, if I were to rank them, it's we got to let everybody in here. And so what about your affordability? Because if it's affordability that you're after, like you said, made up word, then how could you possibly let 1 million people or 2 million people in here who we have to pay for?
That's their voting base, obviously. Yeah,
I don't want to pay for that. So if you're telling me I need to pay for it, then you are going against one of your core principles.
Well, I mean, I think they all thought that they were going to be in power and Trump wasn't going to get in. So the spigot was going to be on full tilt and the money would just keep flowing. They keep stealing from us. So that's what I think they were thinking, right? Like, just keep bringing more in. We'll give them the EBT cards and the cell phones and whatnot, right?
And the same question I would then have to the panicans and doomers. If you don't like what Trump is doing, if he hasn't done enough of what you want, what do you think these people are going to do?
It can be pretty.
I mean, I want to have an intelligent conversation. You don't like Trump, you hate MAGA, and you want this, whatever those this, and this are. If he, or rather the Republicans, lose in November and you get them, you're going to be bitching again because they're not going to do any of the things they'll never do what you want. They are never going to open the Epstein files. They are never going to do all this stuff. So it doesn't make any logical sense. I try to be a logical being.
Well, there's a lot of people that, again, they don't do the research. They're low IQ. They see a headline, they attach their soul to it, and then they go with it. I mean, we have some people that come in the chat do the same thing. They post stuff and let's agree to disagree. I'm like, I'm showing you the fact that this is what happened. How do you come up with something else?
Well, you had mentioned off camera, but I mentioned to people earlier. Tell everybody what happened when you've been like talking to people, in pickleball outside of the political realm.
Many people I speak to, if I start to bring something up, they either kind of like, I don't want to hear about. I don't follow the news. I don't want to hear it. I'll bring up certain subjects about what happened yesterday, and I go, I haven't heard about that. Because they're not dialed in. They're not on X. They're not on Facebook. Like, they might be on Facebook, but they don't want to know. And that's kind of crappy because, they're still voting in elections. And then what happens, they'll see a billboard that says, something that's not right against, Trump. I'm voting for AOC now, like, really?
I want to ask some people, would you even let AOC watch your dog? I mean, let's think about it.
I wouldn't allow her to make a drink. She'd probably poison me.
All right, man. I'll be back to you in a little bit. Oh,
See you soon, Barry.
Yeah, that's too funny. Yeah, exactly. I don't want her watching Midas and Lily. Never mind running the country. I'd be crazy. Hey, quickly, Lear Capital, one of the partners here. Have you ever looked at one of today's biggest investment stories and thought, man, I wish I'd gotten in on that sooner? Well, you don't have to worry because you're watching it play out right now. We're seeing everybody complain about the data centers, but there's a little bit of inevitability that we have to let people know. AI is going there. AI will be prominent moving forward, and the data centers will happen. It's not an if, it's just when. And then, of course, with everything going on with SpaceX, it seems like by the time people really accept that things are changing, it's too late for the opportunity. However, the biggest gains may have already happened, not in silver and gold. What if that next opportunity isn't a headline of chasing a data center? It's what's making the headline possible. What's fueling the data center? What's fueling AI? I'm talking about silver. Silver is a critical material behind the AI revolution. It's used in the technology that powers data centers, advanced electronics, robotics, and the infrastructure AI depends on. Just before I went on, they had a report at Purdue University. They're now instituting more and more information so that the students can use and become proficient in AI. I often think now as more kids are going into trade-oriented things, these campuses are huge. I could see data centers opening up on campuses. It's a big moneymaker. But here's the thing, you don't want to be learning about this after everyone else catches on. Imagine yourself a year from now, you're fighting data centers that are inevitable. They are completely inevitable. And then now, a year from now, they're getting built everywhere and the silver price is taking off. The prediction is still $150 an ounce. The silver has been stuck, I don't know, between 60 and 70 an ounce for a while the war is going on. That's why, while you're waiting, I would get a copy of Lear Capital's free report, The AI Revolution. It explains why so many investors are buying silver at today's low prices. Buy low, sell high, folks, or buy low and hold. If AI keeps growing the way many experts expect, the demand for silver will grow right along with it. It's only a finite amount. So call Lear Capital now at 800-601-5430 to get your free copy of this report, The AI Revolution. And while you're on the phone, ask out you could qualify for up to $20,000 in bonus silver. I've owned silver, actual silver and gold for years because I believe in having tangible assets, not that paper stuff, as a part of a diversified strategy. Whether you decide it's right for you is going to be your decision, but at least make an informed decision. Get the facts before everyone else is talking about it. Call 800-601-5430, 800-601-5430, or go to learberry.com. Be back in 90 seconds.
Back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
This is a featured presentation from the Fanfare Newsroom.
Don't understand it.
Doug Ford, the Premier of Ontario, has come out very hard against the President of the United States here. The Wall Street Journal had a whole profile on him this morning and writes that he's clearly getting under the skin of the President and the White House, but also writes this, Ford, his unpredictability complicates Prime Minister Mark Carney's negotiating stance, but he also provides a useful foil, a kind of bad cop for which Carney can offer his more measured good cop approach. Do you think Doug Ford's approach complicates things for the Prime Minister in negotiating?
Well, that's a very good question. Look, this uncertainty is costing us, it's costing everyone. And when the price goes up, no one is exempt. And
I didn't know that Canada had their own Mazie Hirono. See, one of the things I think is wrong with Canada is they have bat poop crazy people running it. Carney, globalist, right there with the WEF, the World Economic Forum, and then he has surrounded himself with complete nincompoops. I just think everybody should get together and we should all get along. You're losing your country. You're about to be decimated worse than Iran. You don't have anything. And for those people who think that, Canada has some teeth in this, let me just show you this. Here's something for you. It says, if the United States stops buying from Canada, Canada would lose its biggest consumer. The United States buy stuff. I want you to look at this. Canada's top export markets, meaning stuff that they sell to us. Number one, by an amazing amount. At this point, they sell $403 billion of their economic what they need to us. There's not any other country even freaking close. There's not even another country. I mean, we're talking about 400 to 33. You can't even make that up. If we shut you off, you're done. And you've got crazy people in Canada who think somehow they could win this fight. This is worse than dropping bombs on Canada at this point.
I think what we should do is follow Dolly Parton's way. She lived her life.
Oh, if you're in Canada, you're fucked. CNN is asking this woman, what are you going to do about the trade war? I think we should all be like Dolly Parton. Did you really just say that? Did you really just say that to a news host, even though it's CNN? Did you decide to go on television? Hey, what's your solution? We should all be like Dolly Parton.
Life full of love and joy and generous, and President Trump could reflect on it instead of these midnight schoolyard bullying and the vicious. Just take a breather. And my message to American viewer is this.
So your answer to a trade war is, can't we all just get along? Can we all get together and sing Kumbaya? Can we go into the sweat tent and realize it's about humanity. We're all getting together here. You're going to get crushed. And it's going to make it worse because your people in the country who run your country have no clue what the hell they're talking about. I'm pretty sure the woman here at CNN is like, who set me up with this interview? I thought we were going to talk brass tacks about the economies of these two countries. And this woman's saying, why can't we all be like Dolly Parton?
This is senseless. There's no reason for this kind of attack. Our economy, our auto parts are so integrated, and that's why we're prosperous. So give your local elected rep a call and say, come on, you're supposed to love your neighbors as yourself, but...
Wait a minute. Hold on. I got to check something. You got to love your neighbor. You're supposed to love your neighbor as yourself. Remember, Mark Carney is from the World Economics Fund, and she just said we have to, love our neighbor as ourselves. Just checking. Oh, that's number 4. That's the Alinsky rule, throwing it back at you. So you're having a trade war, and you're spouting Alinsky rules for radicals. You're supposed to love your neighbor like you love yourself. Didn't say I had to give you anything. I love you. Didn't say I had to trade with you. I love you. What the hell are these people talking about? Next thing she's going to say, maybe we all should roll a big fatty and sit around and sing.
Stop the attack. And let's negotiate. Let's talk. Because we are always stronger together.
Did Hillary call you? I mean, that was her campaign. So we went from Alinsky to Hillary, stronger together. And I gotta believe, I forget her name. I think her name is Brianna. I'm not sure what her Kate Baldwin from CNN has got to be going, you got to be kidding me. Who set up this? Is this what Canada has? Is this exemplary of the people running the Canadian government? If so, I don't know, get on a Mountie, do something, you're done. You're completely toast. Your country is going to be like Dolly Parton, if you know what I mean.
Let me ask the question then this way, because I didn't hear an answer there. Doug Ford also told the Associated Press.
You know you're screwed when CNN goes, wait a second, I know what the hell you just said. Well, let me ask you so this time you understand, dummy. CNN did that to you. Your career as a politician is over when CNN goes, well, yeah, that's fine and good. I understand about the Kumbaya stuff. Let me ask you a question.
That if this fight gets worse, the way he put it is everything is on the table, including cutting off electricity from Ontario going into the United States. Do you support that move?
Well, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes, upping the price of electricity, we have to get attention because this cannot continue. The uncertainty is costing everyone. And I have this, and we, as Canadians, are having a buy local, love local campaign. There'll be two apples, one's from America, one's from Canada. We're going to buy Canadian apples.
But proactively cutting off electricity going into the United States, you would support that move as a measure to get the U.S. to the negotiating table.
Well, I think whatever our premier.
Oh my gosh. Call your Canadian friends and tell them to move. You're done. You're absolutely, by the way, it gets worse. Oh, it gets much worse.
Needs to do. We cannot continue this way because our economy is quite integrated. If you think about the cars, how they're being built, because of this integration, we're more efficient. We have good cars coming out because of the integration. So we cannot continue to fight and destroy each other economy, and the prices of everything is going up. It's painful. So we have to stop this.
Yep, it's gonna go some direction. Stop or go is yet to be determined.
It's gotta go somewhere. I think you people are screwed. That's not negotiating. Never had a negotiation like that. But listen to the rest of these nuts.
Job in the context of this crisis is to present the support measures for industries affected by these tariffs. And so our government is introducing a $7.5 billion package of new enhanced measures. So this package includes a lot of support through different agencies. So if you're a small business right now, you have to contact either your regional development agency or the BDC, which you're potentially already working with. Small businesses, through the regional development agencies, will have access to $3 million of non-repayable loans, so basically grants.
Oh, no, you don't have to worry about fraud there, huh? Billions of dollars of non-repayable loans. Okay, this sounds good. By the way, did you tell the lady that was on CNN that your economy is so fucked that you're having to give out billions of dollars of loans to keep, or grants to keep people in business? You're having to shell out billions? I don't see that happening here. I don't see us having to bail out people 3 days into this tariff war. That's the part you have to understand. Wait a minute, today's Wednesday. Yeah, 2 days, 2 or 3 days into this tariff war, they're already having to bail people out and give them billions of dollars. So you're telling me your economy was teetering so badly, it was barely getting by, that all of a sudden Carney decides he wants to take on Trump and he wants to do this tariff stuff, and Trump says, oh, goody, done. And now you're having to shell out billions of dollars 2 days into the tariff war. How the hell are you guys going to survive?
For $3 million and up to $2 million of interest-free loans. And the businesses that will be able to have access are around those that will have $1 million in revenues.
So if your business doesn't generate at least $1 million in revenue, you're SOL. Can't help you because, you're done. 2 days into the tariff war. When everybody you hear on the news is telling you that this is bad for America, as bad as it is for Canada, ask them who is folding after 2 days of the tariff war. Matter of fact, you should still have the inventory on your shelves. Oh, that's right. I'll tell you about inventory in a second.
Entire support through the regional development agencies, that may be ACOA in Atlantic Canada, DEC in Quebec, FedDev in Ontario, which Evan is in charge of, FedNor in Northern Ontario, which Patty is in charge of, Prairie Scan, which our colleague Eleanor is in charge of, and Pacifican also in BC, which Gregor Robertson is in charge of, and Canor, which our colleague Rebecca Chartrand is in charge of, will all be ready to help you. Now, the other way we'll be able to help a lot of our small businesses is through the BDC.
There's another way you can help the Canadian businesses. Hey, Donald, and make the deal. See, you won't see this on most of the news channels because they don't want you to know that Canada is already in trouble. They are already having to figure out how do we save ourselves and how do we strap our belts on, because this is about to get really rough where everybody down here is like, what time's dinner, honey? Who cares? You can't survive this. This is insane. If 2 days in, you're having to give out billions of dollars, where are you going to be in 10 days? The election's not until November. You're praying the Democrats take over. You'll never make it to November. You'll be begging people for money. And you know what's coming next. You know, if they get over this hump and they've somehow put the Band-Aids on to keep going, Scott Bessent's going to give them a call saying, yeah, if you do business with Canada, we're going to turn you off in America. And then everybody's going to go, sorry, Canada. Trump's not playing. Remember back to the Don Rowe Doctrine. The Western Hemisphere is ours. That includes Canada. That includes all of Canada. I know the Canadians don't like to hear that, but you might want to dial back a couple months and start understanding what he said about the Western Hemisphere. You had to have known this was coming. You had to have known you're going to do it his way or you're going to suffer. Oh, that's mean. That's bad. They're our next door neighbor. I don't care. This is how it's going to be. We have a president who's going to make it in our best interest. Going to make sure that we are taken care of first. People didn't believe him around the world. There are people in our country that didn't believe him. There are actually people right now saying Canada's in a better position. How's that?
We'll have $500 million to support through interest-free loans that will be between $250,000 to up to $5 million. And there will be no repayment, no capital actually to pay back to the BDC for the next 36 months. So after the Trump administration.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? They just admitted what I said yesterday and some other people have said. They are merely trying to wait it until Trump is gone. I cannot believe this woman went on television and said that. Some of you guys, the hair on the back of your neck must have just stood up. Listen to her again. What the hell did you just say? Is that what the plan is with the world? Is that the plan in Iran? This is what they're doing.
$1,000 to up to $5 million. And there will be no repayment, no capital actually to pay back to the BDC for the next 36 months. So after the Trump administration.
Where's that button? That's this button.
Ashley, you're gonna want to clip that.
How did they go on television and tell the world, we're just going to wait out Trump? So we're going to start handing out billions of dollars right now because, we got 36 months to go. You're not going to make it 3 months. You're not going to make it 6 months. 36 months? Oh my gosh. So now all of you know 100% the game plan with the Democrats in other countries is to wait it out. Suffer. Do what you need to do. Eat ramen 6 days a week. Get more blankets if you can't afford heat, because winter's coming. I don't mean to sound like Game of Thrones, but winter is coming, Canada. Your winter starts in about 60 days, if not sooner. And you got your own government going, we're going to wait till Trump's gone. What if he don't leave? What if he decides, I'm not going anywhere?
And so what the businesses will need to show is they only need to show that their cash flow will be impacted by the tariffs. So the cash flow forecast is clear that basically they'll be impacted by the tariffs.
I don't want to say too much, but now you're understanding they're handing out billions of dollars 2 days into this tariff war, and they're already telling people, just show us how your money's impacted. So you're telling me not only the government, but you got all kinds of businesses out there that are like, oh my gosh, I don't know how we're even going to run things in the next couple of days. I got to send this thing into the government and show that I'm toast. How is that a solvent country? You see, what President Trump is showing everybody, like Clandestine said, Clandestine was talking about voting, what President Trump is showing you. Now, I want you to remember this. This is very important, that there are so many countries who've been sucking off the teat of America. They can't survive without us. Your dollars, everything you've been doing for decades has allowed other countries to even have a friggin' flag. She just said it. They can't survive. They're not sovereign. If we went away, there is no Canada. There is no other country, and that country that needs gazillions of dollars from America. That's why President Trump said he was doing the Don Road Doctrine and making sure everybody understood we own, per se, the Western Hemisphere, because you guys can't do anything. Your army? What Canadian army? And now you're telling us your economy. 2 days in, we're screwed. We just got to wait it out, though.
And finally, for bigger businesses, so medium and big businesses, we will work through the Strategic Response Fund, so through the Canada Strong Diversification Fund, to help businesses. And we are now putting $2 billion to support these medium-sized and big businesses. Amid the trade.
Wow. Now, there's a human interest story from a newscaster in Canada. And damn it if the whole COVID thing isn't happening again. You got people in Canada running around like looking at zombies, and they're pointing people out. They're snitching on their own people. You won't believe this.
War, the federal government is urging people to continue buying Canadian. The sentiment certainly still strong, which is why some shoppers in Kempville were surprised and upset to see American wine on shelves at a local grocery store. CTV's Dylan Dyson was in Kempville and brings us more on this tonight. Dylan.
Yeah, Patricia, we were alerted to this by a viewer who said a store in Kempville had set up a full display in the front of the beer and wine section, prominently selling wine from California.
Oh, God, no, I got to call the news station. Oh, my God, I can't believe. Hey, I was at the liquor store. I was getting drunk. Yeah, I understand. I should be drunk. That doesn't matter. What's more important is they're selling American wine. Are you serious? Canadians, if there's anybody in Canada, please tell me you're not walking into stores and seeing labels of American wine and calling the news station to complain. We were alerted. They told us there was like American stuff being sold.
I saw the wine on display this morning, and within hours of contacting Loblaw, the dusty U.S. bottles were pulled from the shelves once again. American wine temporarily back on store shelves.
Oh, the best part about it is it's from California. Hey, David, how about that? Your state stuff is getting pulled off the shelves from Karen's up in Canada.
In Kempville, Ontario.
I don't know why they would do it.
At the Johnson's, your independent grocer, on Tuesday, bottles of red and white CK Mondavi wine from California were displayed prominently at the front of the store's beer and wine section.
I think we should be sticking to Canadian wine, not American, especially what's going on with Trump.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Chad. What do you got to say, Karen?
Not my choice that they would do that, but I choose not to purchase anything.
It's unclear how long the products had been on the shelves for. A viewer said they first noticed the wine for sale on Sunday. The bottle is still on display Tuesday morning, but when CTV News reached out to Loblaw...
This is a news story. The news station got the phone call. Oh, send out the crew. Send them out right now. Hurry, get them out there. We got to make a news story about the American wine on the shelves. Somebody's going to have to answer for this. Oh my God, American wine? How can this be happening? This is Canada. Oh my gosh. You think this country is formidable? You think what you're seeing here is evidence of a country that can survive a couple months without American dollars? No.
The parent company of the Your Independent Grocer chain, it said the wine was put on the shelves without the approval of the store owner. And once identified, it was removed immediately.
Wait. So the store owner, you mean, i.e. the guy who signs the checks, who imported the wine, bought it from the liquor distributor, that guy, the guy who writes it, hey, I didn't know nothing about it. I didn't know my employees were selling American wine. So in addition to being Karens, you're stupid Karens. You think that the owner of the store didn't know he was dumping that American wine or making money off that American wine. He didn't think a Karen was going to call the news station.
There's me, they don't sell it at the liquor store. We're trying to, I don't boycott the States, but I'm not trying to buy anything from the States purposely. But it bothers me. I wouldn't buy it.
Ontario implemented a province-wide ban on U.S. booze back in March 2025 with no American alcohol available for sale by the LCBO to retail or wholesale customers. Responding to the appearance of the American wine, the Office of Ontario's Finance Minister saying, "We have been clear. U.S. alcohol will remain off shelves. We expect all retailers, including this grocer, to follow the rules." The incident reigniting shoppers' patriotism amid trade tensions with Donald Trump and the United States.
I just can't. I'm sorry to be laughing so much, but I can't imagine Robin and I going to the grocery store and she say, hey, let's get a couple bottles. Oh, you bought Canadian wine. What are we going to do? Oh, my God.
I have my app with the little beaver on it to buy Canadian, and I check everything now before I buy it.
So everything that I can buy Canadian, I do.
After visiting the Kentville location, we also checked 2 other Loblaw-owned grocery...
Wait a second. After you checked that one, you drove over to 2 more locations to make sure they weren't selling any California wine. Yeah. Good.
Stores in Ottawa's South End and did not find any American wine for sale.
I don't play Kalshi or Poly Market or anything like that, but if there's a poll out there that says, how long can Canada last in this trade war, I would bet the short numbers. If I was a betting person, if it's a poker, I would bet they're holding 2s at this point. Oh, my God. You ever seen anything like that? You have Mondavi wine. Oh, my God.
You know, it's really funny, Barry. I've been to those stores because I have friends that live in Ottawa. I've been there in Kentville. Yeah. I love the way she has her head up. I won't buy any of that wine. You're going to eat snow for the next 9 months. Enjoy it.
As I was putting that together, I literally thought, how are these people going to, the winter, I know what time it starts getting cold in Connecticut, about mid-September. I don't know how cold it gets in Canada, how early. I bet you by October 1st, it started feeling really chilly outside. And oh, man.
Barry, I was up there when they had like 4 feet of snow. They just shrug it off. I mean, snow was really amazing, but they do get a little bit tired of it, like by April. You know,
the funniest thing about the whole thing at this point is that we're 2 days into it and we're seeing this kind of response from the Canadians. And I feel bad because obviously there are many, many good Canadians who are falling prey to this. So it's not the Canadian people so much as, oh my gosh, your leadership has no clue. Idiots. None. Yeah. Why don't we all be like Dolly Parton? I'm like, what? Oh, my God.
Boy.
All right, what do you got here?
All right, so the first one here, this just came out a short time ago. Chip Roy is now sounding the alarm. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. That that an Islamic development is being placed near a U.S. military training base, Camp Bullis in San Antonio, Texas. He goes, under no circumstances should Sharia or any foreign legal code be practiced on U.S. soil. We shouldn't be allowing these anywhere, let alone next to the military. I mean, really?
What? It's in Texas. Greg Abbott, wake up. Wake up. Oh, my gosh.
The next story, you can't make this up. You're going to have to play the video. It's 17 seconds long. You won't believe this one.
Hold on. Let me.
Well, before you play it, I'll read the context of the message.
Oh, wait a minute, because I've got a different screen up as I download this thing. Hold on. Hitting the button.
I know, you got the box, man. You're doing all the button stuff.
All kinds of button stuff.
Absolutely.
I'm watching it play as. I'm sorry. Where am I? Okay, this is you can go over this while I get it ready.
All right. So over the last 15 years, Europe took in millions of Muslim migrants. Roughly 3.7 million poured in between 2010 and 2016. The Muslim population has continued to surge since then. Sweden's foreign-born population shows 2 to 2.5 times higher suspect rates for violent and, the other crime. Denmark and Germany record the same elevated numbers among several Muslim majority origin groups. And now, get this, Muslim women are openly saying they will never raise children in Europe because it has become unsafe. Can't even make this stuff up.
Oh, gosh.
I would never raise my kids in Europe. I don't want to send them to school there. I don't want them to walk around alone. To be honest, I don't even want them to visit it. Raising children in Europe now is extremely dangerous, which is why I moved here to Dubai. And I'm gonna raise my own kids in Dubai.
Oh, boy. That's a great commercial for Trump. What do you think?
Oh, that is, oh, my gosh. What the H? Oh my gosh. It's too dangerous for us to do anything.
Citizen Vigilante. Watch that movie.
Oh my goodness. I don't even know how you comment on that because it's you did it. You're people's. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You're right. You can't make this stuff up. You just can't. All
right, that's all.
I'm gonna finish up with we got some legal stuff with Todd. The people who say nothing's happening. Well, I'm gonna show you in a minute here something is most assuredly happening. All right, thanks, SV. Man, oh man. I can't live here. It's too dangerous. You mean from the people that you brought here? Oh my goodness. Hey, listen, Chapter, if you're at 65 plus, you know that Medicare can be quite confusing. As someone who turned 65 last year and went through all this stuff, let me plow the road for you. It's crazy. It's very tough to find all the different plans and keeping track of the enrollment periods. I didn't even know what an enrollment period was. Understanding all your options and making sure you're on the right plan takes a lot of time and energy. And between Medicare scams and corrupt agents and bloated insurance companies, it's easy to make mistakes that can cost you thousands. That's why I'm happy I worked with the guys from Chapter. They're actually honest and the only Medicare advisor that looks at every plan nationwide, helping people save an average of $1,100 a year. $100 a month. People are relieved when they talk to Chapter. These guys won't push you to buy a plan you don't want, and their support, you guys are going to love this, is completely free. So if you're turning 65 soon or have questions about your current Medicare coverage, call them at 475-328-3545 to get the most out of Medicare. Most people wish they just called sooner. Or you can go to the website askchapter.org/Barry to book a one-on-one free consultation to go over all of the different plans that may suit you without any obligation to purchase. 475-328-3545. Many people here in the Fanfare community have actually called them and are doing business with them right now. See you in 90 seconds.
to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
This is a featured presentation from the Fanfare Newsroom.
Good morning, everyone. This morning we arrested Massachusetts State Representative Francisco Paulino, who represents the 16th Essex District, which includes the cities of Lawrence and Methuen, for pandemic unemployment insurance fraud, pandemic loan fraud, and money laundering.
By the way, in case you didn't guess, yep, a Democrat. This entire segment of the show we're going to close with is for all you people out there who say nothing's happening. For all of you who say ongoing, all the time, nothing is happening, no arrests are being made, I can't show enough of this stuff from the DOJ to convince you otherwise. But people are going away. They are being arrested, and we're finding out how many of them have stolen from us.
He is charged in an 11-count indictment that was unsealed today. A grand jury in Boston also returned an 11-count indictment charging the sitting mayor of Lawrence, Brian.
Two things there. One, the mayor, the freaking mayor of Lawrence, Massachusetts, yeah, he's got the bracelets on. And number two, the bigger piece of news that I haven't heard before is that in addition to everything else, Fort Pierce, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, North Carolina, you just heard, I just heard it for the first time, there is now a grand jury open in Boston. So for all of you who say, or people you know who say nothing's happening, there seems to be a lot of grand juries working right now. And these grand juries are locking up Democrat politicians.
And subpoena with pandemic loan fraud and money laundering. As many of you know, Mayor DePina was arrested last week on a criminal complaint. He is alleged to have stolen approximately $1.5 million in public taxpayer money he used to fund his mayoral campaign, pay his personal tax liabilities, and pay off personal loans. The date for his arraignment on the indicted charges has yet to be set. According to the Paulino indictment, Mr. Paulino devised a scheme to fraudulently obtain more than $700,000 in federal pandemic-related relief funds. It is alleged that Paulino used some of the money for his own personal use, including real estate expenses, loan.
At least he knows what to do. He bought real estate. You know, it's very interesting as we're finding this out, as we hear all the pandemic money. You know, who was in charge? Yeah, they knew all this was happening. This is way too much. Between the stuff we've heard in Minnesota, it's just so much. I don't even know if we call it fraud anymore. I think this is business as usual for the Democrats. We were suckers all the way around. Everybody was profiting, and we didn't know. It's funny to me, scary at the same time, that they had us walking around with face diapers and doing all kinds of distancing while they were just cashing checks and obviously doing business. He was taking pandemic money. I'm going to go out and buy me some property.
Payments and transfers to his campaign account. Other money he flipped around and lent to other individuals at higher interest rates than the.
Okay, this is an enterprising young man here. I don't know if you caught what you just said, but I heard that. I literally rubbed my face like this and went, so this guy decided he's going to get pandemic dollars. He's going to go out and buy real estate, maybe a new car, do some different things, and then decided he was going to be a hard money lender. He's going to be a loan shark. I'm going to lend money out to some people, have them pay me with your money. Let that sink in. I'm stealing money. I know some people who need some. I'm going to lend it to them. They're going to pay me interest. I'm going to make money on your money. Genius.
Pandemic loan rate, basically making more money for himself at the expense of others. Prior to being elected, for a seat in the Massachusetts House of Representatives in November of 2021, it is alleged that Paulino ran several businesses, including Madison Tax in Lawrence. Madison Tax provided tax preparation and business planning services to small businesses. Paulino's alleged fraud began in April of 2020 when he allegedly filed an online application for pandemic unemployment assistance benefits, not for himself, but rather in the name of an unwitting 77-year-old relative. The application falsely claimed that the relative had worked for Madison Tax in 2019. Once the unemployment claim was approved, based on the false information Pauline submitted, funds were deposited into an account that Paulino controlled. From April of 2020 until September of 2021, Paulino filed false weekly certifications with the Massachusetts Department of Unemployment Assurance, all in the relative's name. These unemployment benefits that Paulino fraudulently obtained for himself totaled over $44,000. Paulino also allegedly filed fraudulent paperwork with the Small Business Administration in order to obtain economic injury disaster loans, commonly referred to as EIDLs. Some of these applications were for businesses Paulino owned, and others were filed in the name of a business owned by a client of Madison Tax.
You know, I begin thinking about this and how brazen this was, because this wasn't somebody breaking into a house and stealing something off the shelf and running into the dark. They weren't even hiding it. They decided they're going to scam the government, but it probably wasn't a scam. Like I said, it was probably business as usual. And somebody had to have shown him and told him, here's how we can get some money. And we've heard the same story over and over and over, how these scamsters were working, how they were taking money from here, buying cars, opening up fake daycare centers, opening up fake hospices. It was widespread. And I think I finally understand why. The Democrats were all in on it, and President Trump was never supposed to walk away on July 13th. There's too much easy stuff to find. All they've got to do is go back and look at records. This is easy police work. Ask Maximus. This isn't like we're having to have investigations. No, they're just following the paperwork. He did this, it was in his mom's name, and then he did this, and then this is stupidity. Except it wasn't stupidity. They never thought they were going to get caught. Now I'm realizing he was never supposed to get elected. He was never supposed to survive. That should be coming very clear to you right now, because you ask any sheriff, cop, or anything, these crimes, and they're like, they didn't hide it. They're getting caught now because the paperwork is leaving a trail. But it's not like they wiped their fingerprints. They didn't do it in the cover of darkness, and we're like, well, okay, it could have been that guy, could have been that. No, this is an investigation. It's a paper trail, and it's leading everywhere. So why would people have been so confident over so many years in so many different states to steal so much of your money because they knew they weren't going to get caught? Oh, Biden's Biden's gonna take care of everything. Okay. Oh, he's not right. Kamala will take care of anything. Oh my God, she's losing. Well, what are you guys gonna do? Let's see if we can't take him out. And so every time I hear these people scream now, I'm realizing they're getting closer and closer with the paper trail. If you don't think you're ever going to be caught, why bother? Why bother worrying about how people find out that you took out this load and that load? I wanted that to, as you hear her talking, and as if you've heard many people talk, and if you've seen the Nick Shirley videos, you're not seeing Columbo work here. You're not seeing anybody dusting for prints, trying to find out who's on the camera and all. No, it's all written in their own names. Yeah, my name is Fred Johnson. I'm going to take out a loan here, and I'm going to put this money in this account, which has my name and signature on it. Nobody covered anything up. So at that point, you have to realize they got caught with their pants down. So if these people got caught with their pants down, it's only a matter of time before the other people got caught with their pants down. I wouldn't want to be in Washington right now with what Scott Besson is doing and how these guys are digging through things, knowing that you left open a back door here somewhere and your name is all over these documents. They didn't have time to change it and hide it because they never thought they would have to.
It is alleged that Paulino used the fraudulently obtained money for his own benefit. First, Paulino allegedly filed an application for an EIDL in which he falsely represented that the revenues of one of his businesses, Jackson Enterprise, were over $426,000 during the time frame of January of 2019 to January of 2020. The problem is that the business wasn't in operation until August of 2020. The SBA approved the loan based on the alleged false information and sent $136,000 to an account controlled by Paulino. It is further alleged that Paulino obtained an EIDL of over $109,000 for Madison Tax.
All right, so I'm not sure if you heard those dates, but as you're hearing these dates, who was president? Trump. This is why they put a cocoon around him. This is why they had to try and impeach him. They were running the scam. It obviously goes back years. He wasn't supposed to look. Different attorney generals and FBI people didn't want him looking inside of these books. And so now you've got Todd Blanche and you've got all these other investigators who are looking at this stuff. And I'm sure they've told him, hey, they were doing this when you were president back then, the first time. What do you mean? They just didn't tell you. They kept you busy over here going through lawsuits and everything else. And while they were just taking money, just stealing it left and right, made sure you didn't know where to look. Obviously.
May of 2020, and later requested an increase to the Madison Tax EIDL. In July of 2021, the SBA approved an increase of over $290,000 to Madison Tax's EIDL, and Paulino falsely certified that he would use that $290,000 as working capital for Madison Tax. Instead, it is alleged that he loaned most of that money to other individuals through another of his businesses, Madison Mortgage, charging interest rates significantly higher than the interest rate he was getting for the Madison Tax loan.
Now he's into mortgages. And as you know, there's a lot of paperwork with mortgages. So he didn't even care. I'll give you a mortgage. I'm going to charge you 8%. How much we got? Oh, they're only charging us 3. I'm making 5 points on the VIG. I'm getting a 200 grand here. I'm going to give you 200. You're going to pay me 8%. Plus give me a first mortgage. Don't let me have to foreclose on you. Okay. You know, you care about people. You care about how they live. You wouldn't foreclose on them, would you? You bet your ass they would. So in the meantime, just make sure my payments keep coming. I got to pay my interest over here. I'm making money on the spread. Common, a legal maneuver financially if it's your money. But this guy had the ultimate scam. He was lending out money to friends and other people, charging higher interest, making the spread, and never having to pay the original loan.
It is further alleged that Paulino took advantage of one of his tax clients by misrepresenting the terms and conditions for obtaining EIDL loans. As alleged in the indictment, based on applications Paulino filed, the SBA awarded over $345,000 in EIDL loans to his client's business. Paulino then had that client forward $200,000 of those funds to him, which he used to partially fund a $680,000 mortgage for an individual for the purchase of real property.
Having been in real estate for quite some time, I can tell you with quite a certainty of confidence They never thought this gravy train would end. There's too much paperwork. Now you have to realize at this point, as you're hearing how he was getting involved with fake mortgages in his own name. The only way you would even think of doing that is you're like, I'm never getting caught. Nobody's ever going to come knocking on my door. Trump? What do you mean? What do you mean this guy Trump might win? They told me it was a shoo-in. They said Biden was, he was sharp as a tack. And now Biden's not running? Huh. Oh, Kamala, come on, do something. Oh, Kamala lost. I'm fucked. They never thought he would win. He wasn't supposed to win. He wasn't supposed to survive. The grift was ongoing. When you sit back and think about it now, and the most important part I want to drive home here is they never even hit anything. Literally, you, untrained, could do this investigation. You might need to know, someone needs to point you where to look, but then once you start looking and saying, okay, Fred got $500,000. What did Fred do with this $500,000? Oh, he did. It's all in their names.
Interest rate Paulino charged on the mortgage loan was higher than the interest rate from the idol. In total, it is alleged that Paulino fraudulently obtained over $700,000 in federal benefits that he was not entitled to and used the funds to line his own pockets. The conduct alleged by the Lawrence mayor and the district state representative is appalling. Everyone listening today knows how difficult it was for Americans during the pandemic and how challenging it was for businesses. The money these two individuals allegedly scammed was meant for hardworking Americans and struggling business owners, not for two greedy individuals who lied and stole for their own personal benefit. I think it should be clear now that we are taking fraud seriously in Massachusetts. From SNAP and housing fraud to voter fraud, to pandemic relief fraud, we are dialed in and laser focused on rooting out every bit we find. We will continue to hold fraudsters accountable until the stealing stops. It is never a proud moment when we arrest a public official, but we will continue to do it until the message is received. No one is above the law and no one gets a pass. I'm now going to turn things over to FBI.
Good morning. My name is Ted Dox. I'm the Special Agent in charge of FBI Boston. We expect our elected officials to look out for our best interests, protect public resources, and to uphold the trust placed in them by their constituents. We do not expect them to betray that trust by cashing in on public health crisis and defrauding government programs to line their own pockets. But today, Massachusetts State Representative Francisco Paulino and Lawrence Mayor Brian DePena are accused of doing exactly that. A sitting mayor in a multicultural gateway city and a state representative in the Merrimack Valley have now been indicted by a federal grand jury for allegedly misleading their customers, constituents, and the government to defraud pandemic relief programs out of millions of dollars. Shortly after sunrise this morning, we arrested State Representative Francisco Paulino outside an apartment complex in Lawrence.
Okay, so they did a raid, and imagine his surprise. Who are all these? Oh, shoot. Hands up, don't shoot. Yeah, This is crazy. You know what's craziest about this? Here's the craziest thing about what I'm going to tell you. I want you to go on to CNN, MSNBC, NBC, CBS, and see if you see this story anywhere. All right, is anybody talking about it? Well, when SV was saying he's talking to friends and he's out and people are like, I don't know nothing about it. Of course you don't. They're not letting people know that stuff is actually happening. People are being arrested almost on a daily basis.
Arrest comes on the heels of Mayor DePena's arrest in Lawrence a little over a week ago. Both men stand accused of lying to the federal government to fraudulently obtain more than $2 million in pandemic-related relief funds to bankroll their personal debts, political ambitions, and real estate ventures. They're also accused of trying to conceal their criminal cash flows by laundering that money. It started back in 2020, prior to Francisco Paulino's election to office, when he operated a tax preparation business, which he allegedly used as a vehicle to make hundreds of thousands of dollars in fraudulent claims, COVID-related relief. To carry out this alleged scheme, Mr. Paulino betrayed the trust of some of those closest to him when he used the personal information of a 77-year-old family member to get unemployment assistance and a client to obtain small business loans. He's also accused of using other intermediaries to funnel this money into his own personal and business bank accounts. In fact, Paulino even used Heavenly Donuts, a donut shop in Lawrence that he founded, to obtain roughly $136,000 in fraud.
Did he say Heavenly Donuts? Did he just say Heavenly Donuts was in on the scam? I was a big donut eater, but
Yum.
Heavenly Donuts. Oh my God.
Fraudulent small business loans. As for Mayor DePena, we allege he started misdirecting public money for personal gain 6 years ago, back when he was still a city councilor. Simply put, both men are accused of treating the COVID-19 pandemic as their own personal cash cows, at a time when job losses were fast and furious, and so many people needed help quickly. These relief programs were intended to assist workers, families, and businesses suffering massive economic upheaval. We believe every dollar these men fraudulently obtained was a dollar denied to someone who genuinely needed that assistance. Sadly, as long as there are government programs with money to dole out, there will be swindlers trying to take advantage of them. But it's particularly loathsome when these programs are allegedly exploited by public servants elected to serve the public and to protect taxpayer dollars. The public's trust is both vital and fragile. So the FBI's message today is clear. Emergency circumstances do not suspend the rule of law, and public service is not a shield from accountability. We want you to know that our investigation is active and ongoing, and anyone with information on this type of fraud occurring at any level, we're asking you to share what you know with the FBI by calling 1-800-CALL-FBI, or you can go online to tips.fbi.gov. If you like, you can remain anonymous. My sincere thanks to the agents, analysts, accountants, and prosecutors who have worked so hard to advance this case, specifically FBI Boston's public corruption team, U.S. Attorney Leah Foley and her team, as well as partners at the IRS Criminal Investigation and State Office of the Inspector General. Thank you.
I want
sun coming in.
I want to know who had the job of going to the donut shop.
Man, I love donuts.
Oh,
I don't
my
eat them
God.
much, but yeah.
And Heavenly Donuts on top of that. Oh my! What were these people thinking? I just had to ask you that. I'll be back in a second. Oh my God!
All right.
Good morning. My name is Jonathan Wadika. I am the Assistant Special Agent in charge of IRS Criminal Investigations, Boston Field Office. I would like to start by thanking United States Attorney Leah Foley, as well as our law enforcement partners for their hard work and dedication to this investigation. IRS Criminal Investigations' primary focus is to investigate financial crimes, and those crimes take many forms, from tax evasion to money laundering and theft of public funds. In this instance, Mayor Brian DePena and State Representative Francisco Paulino obtained and misused federal funds intended to help those most in need during a worldwide pandemic. These funds were intended to help small businesses survive unprecedented hardships. Instead of using these funds for their intended purposes and investing in their own businesses' ongoing operations, they used these funds to help themselves. Funds were intentionally diverted from bank accounts controlled by these men and used to fund items that helped no one but themselves, including Representative Paulino purchasing property and Mayor DePena paying his own outstanding personal federal tax liability. Let that sink in for a moment. Mayor DePena paid his own federal tax liability, something that every single American...
You can't make this up. Wait a second. So the mayor stole money from the government and then used that money to pay his tax bill. this guy's going away for a long time. It wasn't bad enough that you stole the money from the government. Then you paid the government back their own money. Oh, God.
Is expected to do using funds that he took from the federal government. That is unfair to every single American who pays their fair share of taxes and fulfills their civic responsibility.
SB.
Yeah.
I know people think sometimes you can't make this stuff up. But in the interim, I want you to give these guys a call.
You want me to send some to your house? I can get them there in the next hour.
So somebody give them a call so we can figure out. They must have some damn good donuts up in Heavenly Donuts up there.
Oh boy!
How come there's no reporters going to see them? Listen, they have different locations. Oh man, they had a whole bunch of locations, perfect for laundering. Locations across Massachusetts, New Hampshire. Each Heavenly Donuts provide quality baked goods, cash if you need it, ATM service, all kinds of things. I just threw that in there.
Do you think they put the money inside the donuts too? I mean, is that how?
Joe Bag of Donuts. Oh my gosh.
Hey,
it's like watching
that's an uncle of mine.
Oh, it's like watching a Goodfellas movie. Go get the donuts. Need a cannoli, okay?
Yeah. I'm making the donuts. I gotta go make the donuts.
You can't make this up. I cannot make this stuff up. That he was buying donuts and patting the. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, people. I don't mean to make light of this stuff, but you can't. It's incredible what they went through, and they obviously thought they were gonna get away with it.
And this is happening almost on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the stories that I post on my X timeline, it's one after another. I'm like, I feel like Bill, and Groundhog's Day.
You remember the whole Al Capone thing? How they got people. So that guy was a investigator with the IRS. So they've been working backwards on, hey, so where'd you get all this money from? You make $100,000 a year. How are you buying like millions of dollars of property? And they're moving backwards and trying to figure it out. Oh my gosh! And
you always follow the money.
They had to have thought they were never going to get caught. All right, let me finish up with this about next 5 minutes of Todd Blanche.
All right, see you.
Justice Department says
oh, by the way, this is the story that SV was talking about earlier.
Shut down a key element of a Chinese state-sponsored hacking group. Court documents say that China-based group QTFY used sophisticated hacking tools to target NASA, the Federal Reserve, the Department of Energy, and other critical infrastructure networks. But now, U.S. authorities are cracking down. Here to talk about it this morning for us is the Attorney General of the United States, Todd Blanche. He's the man in charge of this operation to shut it down. Mr. Attorney General, great to see you. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Good to be here.
Was reading through your release on this. So this Chinese-sponsored group, QTFY, you guys discovered they had done malicious hacks against a bunch of U.S. government agencies, NASA, Federal Reserve, DOJ, the U.S. Senate. You're seizing some of their domains and servers. Do you guys have any idea what were these hackers looking for? What were they trying to get?
Well, yes. I mean, they were trying to infiltrate not only some of our key infrastructure, like you just described, but hospital systems and healthcare centers. And this is something that's been happening for many years. And in this case, this was sponsored. This is state-sponsored, and this is a major national security issue for the United States. And so,
are you reading between the lines here? I'm going to give you the lines, and you can read between them. Todd Blanche just said they were involved in healthcare and this thing and everything else, and they were hacking into these machines. So is it far-fetched to think that they could have got into, I don't know, voting machines? Is that what's going to be discussed when Xi Jinping shows up? Funny how this arrest happened now, and they're figuring out that China was involved in hacking all of these different computer systems, but the voting system was secure.
The work that we did over the past several months, bringing this to a stop, is something that the FBI and our great prosecutors in California have worked very hard on. The big part of this that I want people to understand is we not only stop this, but we have shared with the private sector the way that they were doing this, the way that these hackers were getting access and their codes. And so the goal there is to motivate and to use some of the really smart people here in the private sector to stop it from happening again. It's not as if by us doing this that they're going to walk away and not try again. They're going to reload and try to come at us again. And so this is a fight that we're going to continue to have. But this is a great job done by the FBI and National Security Division here at Main Justice and then the Southern District of California U.S. Attorney's Office.
Would you like to see President Trump bring this up with President Xi when he's here in 4 weeks?
Well, look, this is something that we have talked about with our counterparts in China for many, many years. And we know that it's happening. And they know that we know that it's happening. And it has to stop. And so I'm not going to tell President Trump what he needs to talk to the leadership about in China. But I will tell you this, that not only are we using the FBI and the federal government, but we are now empowering the private sector to help us identify the hacking techniques. And then when we identify them, to stop them and then to share those techniques with everybody else so that we know when it's coming and how to stop it.
What kind of digital fingerprints get left behind to the point where you guys are confident that it was China who was doing this?
Well, we know there were 2 platforms, and there's a lot of work that we did behind the scenes to understand this was a paid service where hackers could actually access the service, and so it was available to a lot of bad actors out there, not just China. But at the end of the day, we know from our investigation this was state-sponsored by China, and they're a big part of the problem, at least where it comes to this to what we saw here, and that's why we went to the court. We got court-authorized warrants that allowed us to more or less redirect the servers and then shut them down.
Speaking of China, foreign influence, and also data center is a big deal here, of course, and the debate raging across the country. Senator Tom Cotton and some members of the House last month asked you to look into the possibility of foreign influence on propaganda in regards to being against data centers. And I'm curious at this moment if you've been able to detect any.
Well, so data centers are a big issue, and they will continue to be so, and not because it's all bad, but just it's a complicated issue in our local communities, and to the extent that there's foreign influence that's trying to influence the American people and the way we're thinking about it, that's something that the Department of Justice is always very concerned about and looking into, and I'm not going to talk about any ongoing investigations in that space, but we share Senator Cotton's concerns and the other House leadership and Senate leadership that are raising those issues with us. And again, this is not a Republican or Democrat issue. This is an issue that as a country we're dealing with. And so, yes, we are very focused on making sure that we reach the right decisions based on what we want, not based upon what foreign influencers try to get us to say.
That was a yes. The yes part meaning, are we subject to a massive propaganda campaign about data centers? Many people who may even be in this chat may not realize that people are lying. They're being paid to say certain things. And the Attorney General just told you, yeah, I can't get into all the investigations, meaning it's ongoing. And so when you hear people say the craziest thing about data centers, and they're saying, oh, the water and the power and all this other stuff, make sure you understand that they're really telling the truth, or you at least know who they are. Maybe if they say something, go drive by one. Right now, we have a huge propaganda campaign that's being waged by not just one country, but multiple countries, and it's under investigation. So if it's under investigation, that means there's some fire under that smoke. And so be very, very careful when people are telling you about data centers, because there is so much crap going on.
Administration and DOJ had a big win at the Supreme Court the other day, 6-3 decision allowing President Trump to move forward with some of his mail-in voting restrictions ahead of the November midterms. Primarily before those mail-in ballots go out, they want to be able to have the Postal Service check with DHS to match names against a list of U.S. citizens. But there's already a lot of blowback from Democrats on this. California Governor Gavin Newsom's office calling this Orwellian, and they're saying they're going to sue. They're going to sue sue over this once again. Is DOJ ready to defend again?
Yes, just like we've been ready. And this is what President Trump, this is what the American people expect President Trump and expect this country to be doing when it comes to election integrity and making sure that we are extraordinarily vigilant about who is voting and that they're eligible to vote. It is surprising and disappointing that instead of working with us, instead of working to make sure that we have free and fair elections, you have governors like the governor in California, you have these advocacy groups that are really just left-wing liberal groups that are immediately saying, oh no, we're gonna sue again, notwithstanding the fact the Supreme Court has already issued its.
Yeah, Supreme Court has already issued their declaration. So they're just going to, just like you heard from the lady in Canada, it is now out there. You heard her so. We just have to stick around for the next 36 months and get past Trump. That is what the Democrats are doing. They have to get past Trump. And if they can get past Trump, they think it's, easy sailing thereafter, not understanding who may win 36 months away from now. I don't think it's 36 months at this point. But in any event, that's the game plan. Delay, obfuscate, sue, just try to slow it down, which should give you all the confidence in the world, because if I know it, and you know it, and Todd Blanche knows it, then President Trump knows it. So there's got to be something that they're going to be doing to try and expedite what they need to. And hopefully this right now, the mail-in ballots and using the post office might be the way around it. All right, SB, that's all I got for today. What, you got anything left?
All right. Yeah, I got a couple of short things. The one about Presley is priceless, man.
Okay,
we can start at the top.
Yeah, good. You got a couple here. What you got here? What's this?
So, you spoke about her earlier. It looks like she's not done. So, Mike Lee lays down the hammer, says it's time to impeach Obama Judge Indira Tawani as she goes on a power trip subverting the Supreme Court. Federal judges who repeatedly and wrong cosplay as president should face impeachment charges. Impeach this judge. She is now planning to block the USPS mail-in ballot again. She apparently has it scheduled. The time is now. So she's going to do it one more time.
What you're seeing is
Trip 'em up.
utter desperation. They've got nothing.
I didn't vote for her.
Did
you vote for her?
Not at all.
I didn't vote for her.
Utter desperation. All they can do is try to delay. And I would just hope that, well, I know he's trying to do the right thing, but I wish President Trump would just come out and tell her, go pound sand.
That'd be great. Kind of like what he does about, the CNN reporters.
Yeah. So what's this one? Hold on.
All right. This one, this is going to be a meme for a while. So Ayanna Presley says she's designated Donald Trump and his supporters as the Confederacy.
Oh, my gosh.
The Confederates were Democrats, weren't they? I mean, last I looked at history, I thought that's what they were. So she's one of the dumbest members of Congress. I mean,
you know what? I saw that floating around. Hold on. Let me see. I think somebody actually got a video of her saying it.
That'd be
wait
great.
1 second.
Run that as an ad too.
Pardon me?
Run that as an ad too for the midterms.
Oh, here it is. Yeah, I found it. Hold on.
All right.
Oh my God, these people are caricatures of themselves. They're complete nut jobs. But again, all it is to just lie to people and everything else. Hold on. Let me bring this in because oh my gosh, she's crazy. Yeah, here they come. Okay, here it comes. She's talking the same crap they've all been saying. Hold on.
It is bigger than Trump. Because whenever we do the work of ousting the occupant of the Oval Office, the Confederacy is still alive and well. That's all MAGA is. White supremacy is still alive and well. Anti-blackness will still be alive and well. Xenophobia, anti-LGBTQ.
Notice all the people she were talking to was white people.
Barry, I mean, this is the quote: better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to speak out and remove all doubt.
She's sitting there talking to white people. Oh, my gosh. And they're like, yeah, you're right. It's a racist or something. Yeah, tell them, sister.
That's right. That's right.
What do you got here?
All right, so this one here in my good old D.C., Virginia, it's all the same, actually. So, the crime rate has dropped tremendously. We've seen the stats. I've reported it several times, but parents and activists in D.C. are now protesting the National Guard for being near schools, even though crime has dropped sharply since the troops showed up in August 2025. Overall, crime is down about 19 to 20%. Motor vehicle theft is cut in half, and homicides are down roughly 30% compared to the same period last year. So safety for your children apparently isn't worth it if the wrong side is delivering it. I mean, you can't make this up. Look at these fools. I mean, try to be out there at night about 2 years ago. They probably would have been, hijacked and other things.
You would think that your most precious asset in the world is your children. I would welcome the National Guard to be out around a school. I want them. I don't get these.
They're
people.
just using them as pawns. They don't care about their kids. As we're seeing with Clancy. I mean, people, you're not safe in the womb. You're not safe outside the womb with Democrats. I mean, these poor kids, man.
Oh my gosh! All right, man. Thank you very much.
All right, we're done for the night.
Yeah, we are done. I'm gonna do super chats and.
Have a good night, everybody.
Then I will see you tomorrow. Don't forget there'll be a thank you, SV. There'll be a new video coming out tomorrow at 10 a.m. It will not be a clip of the show, so if you want to hit that up and check out tomorrow's video, I greatly appreciate it. I think you guys might like it. All right, so let's do super chats here. Boom, got it here. Got to bring it over. There we go. All right, a 4-hour show. Also, media. It's President Donald Trump. No, we're not going to be at 4 hours. We're at 2:42 here at this point. Chiosop, Darlene Graham is going to do what Trump tells her. You bet. I firmly believe that, Chiosop. Scott Presser also endorsed Norton for some reason. Norman. Okay, yeah, Ralph Norman. Don't know why. Well, I'm pretty sure why he did is reason why a lot of other people did is because they basically looked at her as like she doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. But then again, if she just does what Trump tells her to do, she'll be fine. Mary Killam, the actress from Coach, passed away also, his girlfriend. What's her name? Shelley Fabares. That's the three. Shelley Fabares, Tim Curry, and Dolly Parton. Alec, at least with Democrats, you know who they are. Rhinos are worse because they smile at you while holding a dagger behind their back. I cannot believe none of us knew what Ralph Norman was really like. And seeing that was just amazing to me. Amazing to see, how his family reacted. Wow. Starfleet, police don't need a warrant to search flock cameras, but they do for your cell phone. That's the difference. Good point. Very good point. You need a warrant for cell phone. You don't need a warrant for the flock. Good, very good point. I like that. Alec, Prez should give the dog a medal. That would set them off. Maximus, hello, how you been? Very not sure if you've heard this, but we have huge high-flying ISR balloons that capture massive data off of the cell towers all over the U.S. No, I did not know that, and now you're going to give me some homework. An ISR balloon. Going to have to check that out. Thank you for that. Deborah, Norman is a Tea Partier and Grom is loyal to Trump on how good he treated Lindsey. He will be a Massey. Trump knew it. Also the Haley thing. Yeah, Trump had to have uncovered that and figured it out. Linnell, I think Darlene is a patriot. She lost her brother who raised her. And while she's grieving, she was asked to serve her country, and she did. Indeed, she did. Alec, Radcliffe in Russia, Sum of All Fears. Oh, great movie. And if you guys have seen that movie, you understand what happened at the end of that as well. Good point. Jonathan, I saw the El Sayed interview on Jesse Water. This guy is a complete nut job. Michigan step away from the ledge, say no to communism. He is a liar. I have that interview in its entirety, which I will be playing tomorrow. So if you haven't seen that, if you don't have Fox on your television, I have that El Sayed interview ready for tomorrow's show. Alec, beef regulations. I already see people being fired. Mark Elias suing, an activist judge blocking. Yeah, they're trying everything they can do to get in the way. Canadian lady wants to play Barbie dolls with Trump. Looking for you. Canada's downfall started in 2016 with the election of Trudeau and his financial advisor, Mark Carney, who was placed as leader of the Liberal Party without being elected. And he's also a Klaus Schwab disciple. Alec, small business who will get military contracts may go public, something to watch. Interesting, very interesting. Looking for you. Carney has offered members of other parties mega bucks to come to the Liberal Party. He now has a majority. Yeah, but if your country goes under, I don't know what you can do. Chiosop, funny, the wine was already imported and paid for. Exactly. And it was sitting on the shelves, which means up front it was selling. Chiosop, thank God the globalists use morons to do their work. They're getting exposed constantly. Alec, by the time Trump is gone, Canada may be a state. Yeah, exactly. John, we will send Fred over to Canada with a Cadillac to sell American wine outside the trunk of a car. He'd probably make some serious jack doing that too as well. Mr. Mike, the Canadian lady sounded like she had a mixture of wine and painkillers. If I were in Canada, I'd be moving. God bless the Canadian people. I really do feel sorry for them. I really feel sorry for the Canadian people for having such inept leaders. C-Arm, Bobby Charles is requesting federal government to send ICE officers to the polls in November, reported by WMTW News just now. Okay, I'll look that up. Bobby Charles represented a Republican in Maine. Wow. I'm going to write that down. Tania, Barry, just felt like saying thank you for all you do. Hope you know how much the Fanfare family truly appreciates you. Thank you very, very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, let me see. What do we got here? Last couple. Kellyanne, the memo went out to all Democrats, steal everything that isn't nailed down. You have to bankrupt a country to destroy it. I think that's called Cloward Pivot. Might want to look that up. Cloward Pivot. John, Trump said, I got it all. Yep, he does. And Moshe, this goes back to 2016 and trying to elect Clinton. I bet. Chiosop, FBI tactic is to catch the little guy and roll him up the ladder to meet the next guy until they get to the top, because the top has a platform and connections to evade. I bet you there's a lot of people talking right now. Oh, wow, they just put up the news. The NFL has terminated the Pro Bowl game, which nobody watches anyway. Nobody wants to watch that flag football crap. But it's over. Good. Chiosop, the people above Paulino probably took triple the amount of money. Paulino may have fallen on the grenade to protect the names above, or he would have gone swinging one way. Or maybe he still is. Still time for it to happen. Moshe, there is Yiddish expressions which translates to a man's plans and God laughs, that explains what is going on with these fraudsters. I like that. I'm have to see, you guys are giving me homework to go look up. John, set Trump's list. Let's say set Trump's list as a long list. John again. Oh, that's the same one. Thank you, John. Fazul, Boston creamed. Heavenly Donuts. Oh my gosh, that was so funny. Barry, this is from Nicholas. Barry, COVID was a fraud and the vaccine did in some friends. It blinded another. Wow. Wow. Have I got my email? I'll have to ask Ashley. She gets all the emails, but thank you. Nathan Hardcastle, oh my gee, this is a mayor that got arrested. I wonder how Karen Bass, Gavin Pritzker, and Mayor Johnson are feeling right now. They've got to be shaking in their boots. I mean, that's like he said, that's a mayor who just went down. An actual mayor of an American city got caught on fraud. Yeah, and I do believe we're going to see these people talking. All right, I will see you guys tomorrow. Look for a video at about 10 or 11 tomorrow morning, and then we'll do a show. Oh, we'll see what time it is. Hopefully, we'll see if Caroline Levitt's going to do her last press conference tomorrow. We shall see. Thank you.